Destiny 2 is a game that I have a very interesting relationship with. It's a relationship that I think teeters on being abusive. Like, the Stockholm Syndrome is hitting so deep that I can't help but keep coming back, only to constantly have my ass beaten by the developers, Bungie. I get punished for wanting to dive back into Destiny 2 and sink a ton of time into again and grind it out and enjoy it. I come back once a year to Destiny 2, my old mistress, thinking things have changed, thinking that they've changed, because they have a shiny new piece of content, a brand new raid that puts stars in my eyes, and I can't resist the urge to get back into the grind and go for world first. That is still, to date, I think the funnest activities I ever do in gaming annually, which is go for world first raid completions. We never even come close, of course, and sometimes we've only ever completed the raid on day one a single time. I'll get to that in a moment. But the experience in Destiny 2 of raiding is unlike anything else. With friends, it's some of the most memorable moments in all of gaming for me. I just love it. But the big problem is, that's about all they have. They do one high effort content push per year, if that, for Destiny 2, and everything else is just filler, tedious chores, or just complete and utter neglect, with a smile on their face and a middle finger to the community. It seems like most of their focus throughout the year is spent on microtransactions from their Eververse store in order to nickel and dime and shake down people for their lunch money with cosmetics, and not fixing things that need fixing, not addressing things that need addressing, not even listening to community feedback or the player base, and just going complete radio silence until here's the new expansion and you guys are gonna buy it. We know you're gonna buy it, so get ready to buy it. I hate that this is kind of what Destiny 2 has become. I want a reason to log in and play and grind. I want fun things to do in the game, but there just really isn't. Now, I have always said Destiny 2 has so much potential, the most potential out of pretty much any product on the market. And not just from the PvE standpoint, but it also does have PvP. And the PvP could be great. It could be so much better. This is Bungie we're talking about. They made Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach some of the best fucking multiplayer games there are in the FPS genre. They could make Destiny 2's PvP an absolute fucking powerhouse of a shooter. But they don't put even a single iota of effort into it. I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not special. A lot of the community is feeling betrayed by Bungie, even more so now than ever, thanks to their most recent post on the state of the game, where it's just such a fucking nothing burger, like a complete empty calorie sandwich that has nothing to do except just say like, hey, this game development shit's not easy, so don't expect too much, and here's our plans for the future, and it's just really underwhelming. I don't know if they're just keeping big stuff close to the chest and they don't want to reveal a lot in their State of the Game post, but it's still just alarming because they don't really do a whole lot for the game throughout these seasons. For those that don't know, Destiny 2 operates on a seasonal model, so it's supposed to be getting like an influx of content at different periods throughout the year, but really the only thing that ever actually has any substance to it is when they release either a dungeon that they finally put effort into, or their new expansion with some big story moments, big story missions, and a raid. A shiny, nice new toy for everyone to play with and everyone to come together and try and tackle the hardest content Destiny offers. At least that's how it used to be. This is a controversial take in the Destiny community, but I'm just gonna say it out loud and scream it from the mountaintops. Their most recent raid in the Lightfall expansion was a joke. Root of Nightmares was a raid that me and my team completed in 5 hours, and we are a team that has literally never completed a raid on day one ever until this one. We are a team of casual players. I have probably the least amount of hours out of my group. I have close to like 1,000. Most of the others are between like 1,500 and 2,000, maybe a little bit more. But we usually never day one complete a raid. And for Root of Nightmares, one that we were so fucking excited for, we did it in 5 hours, and it just felt really deflating. Because we love the challenge. Like, there's a sick joy to banging your head against a wall in a really tough encounter for 16 hours until you finally get it. That euphoric moment when everything clicks and you complete the encounter it's so triumphant. But in Root of Nightmares, it was really, like, underwhelming. It felt really half-baked. Usually in raids, each encounter is a whole different ballgame in what you have to do in order to overcome the challenge. Of course, mechanics are borrowed from previous encounters, but they're expanded. They're given more and more depth. So you'll learn a mechanic in encounter 1 of a raid, and then you'll use that mechanic in encounter 2 in a different way, in a deeper way, in a totally different application of it. In Root of Nightmares, there was really only 2 mechanics the entire raid that never really changed. They was just rinse and repeat. They just kept copy and pasting the same mechanic over and over again. It was super, phoned in and lazy. There's only one good encounter in Root of Nightmares, and it's encounter 3 with the planets. That is a fun one. That is what we would have expected the raid to be like, where it has these really interesting encounters that have a lot of depth to them, but it's the only one. It's the exception in Root of Nightmares. Everything else is the exact same shit over and over again. It was just sad. And usually world first races last quite a long time, even for the best teams in the game. But this one was still completed in only a handful of hours. It was so fucking quick. Also, I wasn't exaggerating about the 16 hours on a single room. When we did Deepstone Crypt Day 1 a couple years ago, we actually spent 16 hours in the second encounter until we finally got through. And it was fun. We still look back on that fondly. And in Root of Nightmares, we literally took a 3-hour break. So it was 5 hours total, but the entire time was 8 hours because after the first 2 or 3 hours, we took a 3-hour break to watch the Moist Esports Valorant team play. Then we came back and then completed it in another hour and a half, basically. It was so underwhelming compared to all of the other Day 1 raids that we have done over the years. And let's not even get started on the campaign. The Lightfall campaign was a joke. They forgot that there was supposed to be a story in the Lightfall expansion. They literally forgot the narrative. So, I won't even get too deep into that. Point is, it seems the direction Destiny 2 is going is one that the community is not excited about. And it seems like it's one that's entirely either fueled by greed or laziness or a combination of the two. Because most of their effort is spent on cosmetics, it feels like. It seems like that's where most of their resources and team is allocated to, is anything microtransaction related. At least that's how I and many others feel. And less on actually improving the game or adding meaningful content or meaningful updates to it. It's fucking sad because this game has the highest potential out of any product on the market, in my opinion. Just straight up across the board. This game has the most fucking potential. The gunplay is extremely satisfying. The builds are extremely fun and versatile. Except for Warlocks for a while, pretty much all of us were using Starfire Protocol because, you could use it for pretty much everything. But for the most part, the builds are extremely versatile. They have their own unique niches that they can fill in raids and tough encounters. And there's just so much variety to the gameplay itself, so much depth. It's just such a beautiful game, too. Everything is so nice in Destiny and feels so fucking good. And when they actually put effort into the lore, like they did with Witch Queen expansion, the story was great, too. Obviously fumbled with Lightfall, but it has all of the building blocks of a fucking masterpiece. The only thing it's missing is a development team that cares about it. It's sad. It's fucking sad. And instead of putting people's mind at ease with this state of the game where it's look guys, we know you've been dropping the ball, but here's what we're going to do. We're really going to put our foot on the gas pedal and go hog wild and deliver the Destiny 2 experience that you guys really want. Instead of doing that, they instead release the worst fucking summer book report of nothing about the direction they're going with the game and what they're adding to it and what they're doing. It's just it's so flat. It's so flat, which made everyone pretty upset. I went over it on stream, so I'm just going to play the stream clips for you, but I know most of you have probably been mesmerized by what I'm wearing here. This is the newest Moist Global anime hoppy coat. You can find it at moistglobal.com, as well as many other items in this anime-inspired line, so definitely go to moistglobal.com to check these bad boys out. Did you see that the Destiny community is pissed at Bungie for their State of the Game article, where Bungie basically went, yeah, game development is hard, so we have to do the bare minimum. Please buy the final shape. No, look it up, though. That sounds very on-brand for modern Bungie, unfortunately. Destiny is a game with the most fucking potential that is never realized because Bungie's too lazy. That's so fucking frustrating. My name is Joe, I'm the game director for Destiny 2. Right now the team and I are heads down on making sure the final shape and the seasons leading up to it are incredible, so for the rest of this update you'll be hearing from a bunch of different voices that all contributed to this mid-year state of the game. Wanted to start with a quick thanks to all of you who have been playing Destiny for so many years. The way you play and feedback you give us is a huge part of how we shape our plans, and it's an honor to log in each day and play in this universe alongside all of you. Is this the major complaint? Most frequent feedback we see is that there's just not enough new PvP content, specifically new maps. Was the maps the big issue? Because I remember when I was grinding for fucking Recluse, the big thing I hated about it is the PvP is so half-baked. So dreadfully half-baked. There is so much they could do with PvP in that game if they just gave the slightest fuck about it. That is a major complaint, but not the biggest issue in the game. Oh, no, not in the game. I just meant in terms of PvP. Yeah, they've made no maps in the past 3 years. We have a Vex network-themed map debuting alongside the new Relic 6v6 game mode, the gunplay-focused checkmate modifier for multiple modes, a new competitive Ascendant Division emblem, and more. Cool emblem, I guess. So 1 new map in 3 years. W. Solid and efficient pipeline. Someone with 4K hours in the game, the community is pissed at the state of the game because they basically say that 2/3 of the game is irrelevant because of manning issues. Basically told the community that we are lazy, so we're not going to make new stuff that much. Oh my god, wait, they have Gambit in here? Ew. The update better just be, we're removing Gambit. We know this is long overdue, we forgot it was in the game, we're getting rid of it. Oh, fuck. As many of you have noticed, we've been quiet on Gambit since last year's overhaul that launched alongside the Witch Queen. In that revamp, the team made significant changes across 5 categories in Gambit. Core activity fundamentals, primeval tuning, invasions, ammo economy, and rewards. Unfortunately, these updates didn't move the needle for player engagement, although we know our Gambit fans... Stop lying. No such thing. Although we know our Gambit fans mostly care about new or returning maps, this is an area of the game with lower engagement that would take resources away from more popular parts of the game to shore up. While we don't have plans to dedicate more resources to significantly transform Gambit, we do have a few... Man, I thought they were about to say we're getting rid of it. We do have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape. These include porting the Cathedral of Scars map and its beautiful dreaming city. It's, who cares? Gambit's still here. Jesus Christ. Just get rid of it. Even you can't help but admit this is an area of the game with lower engagement that takes resources away from other parts. Just get rid of it. Put it down. Just fucking put it down. Oh my god. You don't update it, you don't touch it, it's fucking boring. Just get rid of it. That'll free up like 40 gigabytes off of the 200 gig download or whatever. Okay, so in summary, PvP got no real update, and that new map comment didn't go over well. Gambit is getting 1 ported map from 2018, and that's it. Then there's some quality of life changes, which are good, but that's about it. No major impactful changes. Fucking huge. So what's the statement they made about why they're so inefficient at releasing anything of value into the game? The game development hard sentiment. Do you agree that Destiny 2 is the best gunplay art style of any FPS and that's why it's still relevant? Not only that, it's the raids. Their raids, and even some of their other content like dungeons, are so incredibly creative, fun, and fulfilling. But then it's sandwiched in between such tedium, greed, and like misdirection. It has so much fucking potential, yet they put no effort into it. This is something my friends and I talk about a lot. A lot. Like, a great example is Root of Nightmares. We were so fucking hyped for Root of Nightmares, and we completed it in 5 hours day one, which we've never been able to do before. Ever. We have never day one to raid, and we did that one in 5 hours. They're not putting effort into it. To set expectations, our studio structure is built to support more overarching updates to PvP like the ones above, rather than focusing exclusively on maps. When we do focus our resources on building new Crucible maps, it comes with a trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidths on work that contributes to a variety of experiences that players also hold dear, such as a new story or exotic mission content, core activities that make up the foundation for each season, or new destinations. Similarly, bringing back reprise maps also involves extensive porting to the latest version of Destiny 2, which requires additional resources to ensure the maps work correctly for multiple game modes and playstyles for years to come. So that's where they're basically saying, like, game development's hard and we don't have real bandwidth because we don't know how to manage our teams. It will get better, they just need AI. Yeah, they're just holding out for AI. Why actually work on managing a team of people when they can just have AI do it for them? They said in a press conference a while ago they were quantity over quality, and we don't good because the players will expect. What riddle did I just read there? Did you get the statement. Did they want quality over quantity? Because they've done neither. Regardless, like I don't even know what the statement was with that comment, but regardless of quantity over quality or quality over content, they have literally done neither. They also said the final shape in its raid will provide a climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga, probably due to the Lightfall backlash. Well, they forgot to put the story in there. They literally forgot to put the narrative in the goddamn expansion. So yeah, hopefully this will provide something. Some kind of plot. How haven't you given up on the game yet? Again, this is a game with so much fucking potential that is just constantly unrealized. It's criminal. Do you think Destiny would be in a significantly better spot with Activision still being a part of it? It seems the game went downhill once they split with Activision, and Bungie has fooled us into thinking it was Activision's fault. That's something Jackson and I speculated on back and forth. The short answer is I have no idea on how things work behind closed doors. I really don't know. But you're right. The game has definitely gotten worse since they've been apart from Activision, which is unfortunate. But I don't know how much Activision did to help them. I think they just lost direction, most likely. Like, I don't see Activision being the thing that was making Destiny 2 good. Activision provided High Moon and Vicarious Vision to do major expansion. So were they actually like hands-on with providing like direct support to Bungie for those things? Maybe they were really helpful then. I guess not knowing the actual relationship between Activision and Bungie during development, the only thing I could see as like a positive with Activision involved is they would 100% ensure Bungie is actually working on this game. Whereas right now I feel like they just go into the office and literally play beer pong and then go home. Like, I don't know what the fuck they do all year on this game. They make, like, one decent piece of content with a raid every year, and that's it. Like, what the fuck do they do in between? I've seen a lot of people say that. Did they actually make that statement about not over-delivering? Because they don't want to set expectations too high? Because if so, that is so fucking embarrassing. Oh my god. If you haven't read the GDC 2022 conference, it's definitely worth a read. No, I haven't. I'll check it out. Someone with 3,700 hours in the game, people are shitting on it way more than it should be. I don't know what the backlash is, like, the scale of it. All I can say is that even as someone who only has, like, I think close to 600 or 700 hours across console and PC, probably more than that, but it's very frustrating to see how little gets added to it of value, and just how comfortable they are phoning everything in and going through the motions without any real content. That's why I don't actively play. I have no reason to. Do you think Destiny can become another Anthem? No, it's never gonna, like, fully, fail or anything. Destiny's too big to fail. I don't think that'll ever happen. TikTok's such a weird place. I'm sure most of you have seen the trend that's existed since the inception of the platform where thirsty teenagers make those videos like, I would be a bad boyfriend because I'd love you too much, or you shouldn't date me because I just love you too much. You'd be suffocated with my overwhelming love. You know, shit like that. It's super weird. It's like romance to them is like it is in anime. It's just super fucking goofy. But today someone sent me a link to a guy, an Adonis, really, and I took one look at this man and I said, yeah, this guy fucks. And then it turns out he doesn't. A lot of his videos are just about relationships and why he's not in one, and why he would be a shitty boyfriend. And it's the cliche thing I mentioned where he's like, I'm too much of a lover. My love is too powerful for mere mortals to understand and tolerate. I would literally murder someone with love. I would fuck their butthole with love, and you're not ready for it. Thus, I have to be single.
Everybody wants to know why I'm single, and these are some reasons why. If I was your boyfriend, I would be very overprotective. Like, no one's talking to you but me. I would want to hang out all the time. Like, I want to be with you. I would FaceTime you and text you constantly, and then you would probably end up getting annoyed.
Bro, I'm not even dating you and I'm ready to break up. He's just actually listing off red flags and giving legitimate reasons why he would fucking suck to be in a relationship with. It's supposed to be one of those cutesy videos where girls are supposed to have their heart melt like, aw, he's single because he's so caring. But his just comes across as, wow, I can totally see why he's single with this kind of shit. It almost just sounds like threats like, hey, if we're dating, you're not talking to anyone but me. Your parents? Nope, we're cutting them out. Your imaginary friend? I'm gonna go in there and fucking murder him. You are only gonna communicate with me. Thus, I have to lock you in the basement to make sure that you don't betray me and talk to somebody that's not me.
I want everyone to know. Like, I want all my friends, all your friends, my family, your family. I want everyone to know that we're together. So those are some reasons why I'm single.
You know, to be honest, I actually can't believe that he's single. These aren't the worst qualities in the world. Yeah, you know, maybe it's a bit clingy, but it could be worse. He could be addicted to ketamine. Maybe he is, but he didn't mention it here. And if this is all that's wrong with him here, hey, maybe it's worth the chance.
A message for all ladies. All right, ladies, listen. Any guy you date should see you as a priority, not an afterthought. If a guy can only text you how he feels, he doesn't feel anything. If a guy's not willing to show you off, you can show him the door. If all they want to do is play Fortnite, you tell them good night.
Actually, pretty good advice here, I have to admit. If your man just wants to play Fortnite, you just tell him night-night, and then you go and turn yourself into the police because you were dating a child, you sick fuck.
Yeah.
I'm wet, panties are sodden, god damn it, he's the perfect man. Jesus Christ. You'll notice that there's like a striking similarity between the things that would make him a good boyfriend and the things that also make him a bad boyfriend. It's basically just the same thing. He's obsessive. Like, he will literally always be there. Like the boogeyman under your bed, making sure that you're sleeping soundly. If you date me, I'm slapping that fucking phone out of your hand, trying to talk to somebody that's not me, you naughty harpy. The fuck do you think you're doing? Always there to hype you up. You want to do something? You do it and I'll be there to cheer you on. As long as it's just me there, cheering you on.
Reasons why I'm a bad boyfriend. I always want kisses and hugs. Like, even if it's random, no matter what time, I always want them. I always want to give you anything and everything. Like, even if I don't have it, I just want to give it to you. I don't want you to pay for anything. Even if I don't have enough money, I want to spoil you. Dinners, movie, anything, I want to pay for it. I won't let you. I want to show you off. I'm gonna post about you. Even if you don't want me to do it, I can't help it. I want to show you off, baby. I will always put you before me. Even if you're having a great day and I'm not, I will just hype your day up and I won't tell you about how bad my day was. But those are some reasons why I'm a bad boyfriend.
Oh my god, it's so dreamy. You don't want me to post about you? That's too fucking bad. I'm putting your nudes on Twitter because I'm so proud of you, baby. You got a great body. Those ass cheeks and the way that they can clap. Oh my god. The world needs to know. I'm going to show you off, baby. I feel bad singling this guy out because, like I said, it's so common. So many people on TikTok do this exact same shit. Like, I'm such a bad boy. I would take you to a drive-thru and I wouldn't let you pay for your meal because I'm bad. I'd be a bad boyfriend. But the reason I chose him is because he has whole compilations dedicated to these videos because he's done so many of them. And it just made it easy to have like a nice cum dumpster full of these bad versus good boyfriend things. So anyway, I just wanted to briefly touch on this because I think it's super weird. I know it's not like uncommon for people to be like, I'm actually super shitty at being in relationships because I'm just too goddamn nice. Nice guys don't win, am I right, girls? Yeah, I see a lot of that shit, and then this is kind of the same thing. Like, I'm a bad boyfriend because I just want to love a girl, and girls don't want to be loved. They want an asshole douchebag, so I'd be a bad boyfriend. I see it all over the place, and this guy, he's just done it so many times, I figured it'd be a good example to talk about the trend and go into detail on it. Yeah, so that's really about it. So yeah. What do the two best movies of the year have in common? Sand. Dune 2, and now Furiosa. I don't know why sand seems to be the new thing for high-quality productions, but God bless. Furiosa is extraordinary. I am a huge fan of Mad Max Fury Road. I think it is a masterpiece that will probably forever stand the test of time. I think that movie will always be good, even 100 years from now, no matter what the standards are then. When our fucking existence is just like little brains in a jar, we'll probably still be highly entertained by Mad Max Fury Road. So to say Furiosa had big shoes to fill in my eyes is an understatement, and I'm happy to say that I think it absolutely succeeded here. Now, I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right now. We'll get down to the brass tacks. It's not better than Fury Road, but I would say it's almost as good as Fury Road in a very different way. These are totally different experiences. Fury Road is a spectacle that's a little light on characters because it didn't really need to. You just get so lost in this unbelievable experience that you don't really need a whole lot of depth to the world and the characters around it. Furiosa, however, is all about its characters and world building, while of course maintaining that iconic DNA that Mad Max has become known for of beautiful action set pieces, practical effects, fucking combustion engines that rattle your testicles in your seat, fucking pumping gasoline into your veins as you watch the film, pumping your fist at the set pieces. All of that is still very much intact, and it now has a much deeper, lore-rich world and characters to accompany it. So, let's get into it. This obviously focuses on the origin story of Furiosa taking place before Fury Road, kind of explaining how she got to where she is in that film. It starts with her as a child getting kidnapped by the new main villain here, Dementus, played by Chris Hemsworth. I love the name Dementus, by the way. It's very reminiscent of old George Lucas Sith Lord ideas with Darth Insanius and Darth Yucky. I love that name. Dementus is so good. Now, I initially thought he'd be like a diet great value Immortan Joe, but he's not at all, just completely different. It's like comparing me to a tall person, like it's not even on the same scale. The only thing that Immortan Joe and Dementus share in common is that they're both worshipped by their followers, but Dementus is completely unhinged while also being extremely crafty, and it's very clear that Chris Hemsworth loved playing this role. Every time he is on screen, it just seems like I'm watching him like have the time of his life. I'm not kidding when I say I half expected him to bust out some of my dog shit dance moves when he was going into like a villain speech that he was given. I thought he'd be hitting him with like the "Where's my hug at" when he's threatening Immortan Joe or something. Like he is just, it's hard not to be entertained when Dementus is on screen. I'm trying not to get into any like spoilers or anything, but I love the way that he approaches this world. He knows that he is an evil piece of shit. He's well aware of it, and he just tries to have fun with that. I'm talking about Dementus the character now, not just Chris Hemsworth playing him. So like, for example, when he goes to try and strike a deal with Immortan Joe, he has a hostage, and he has this weapon that's attached to the hostage that he's like holding back, and he's got little nipple clamps attached to it at the same time, so that way if he lets go, it's gonna rip his nipples off. For no reason other than he likes having his nipples clamped and thought it'd be fun. Like, I don't know, like, how can you not enjoy that? That's so fucking good. So, I am a huge fan of Dementus, and I am glad that it's not just doing the Immortan Joe character again. They made a completely unique one here with Dementus, and I think they crushed it, and Chris Hemsworth nailed the performance of it. And I also think Anya Taylor-Joy did an amazing job as a young Furiosa here. She doesn't have very many lines, but the lines she does have are very powerful. When she uses her voice, it is a big deal, and it carries a lot of weight. She's also extremely badass, so she's like a one-woman army, just like fucking slaughtering tons and tons of people, but she's so far from invincible. She gets beat up, she loses more than she wins. Try not to get into spoilers, but she suffers great loss, like physically, emotionally, obviously. Like, she is not, some superhero, but she does what she needs to survive, and she is great at that. But anyway, switching gears back to the overall story, the narrative. After kidnapping Furiosa, Dementus does something unforgivable, and Furiosa dedicates her life to revenge. She will do anything she can to get the chance at killing Dementus for what he has done. And it's a really, really good revenge movie. I have no complaints at all about the characters or the writing. I do, however, have like a bit of a nitpick with a couple of things that happen in the story, but they're not a big deal. It's not an overall detriment. But there was a couple moments where I really thought it didn't make sense that the people around Furiosa wouldn't have taken notice of a couple things that she had done. It's not that big of a deal that they didn't. You can kind of just write that off as like, everyone here is kind of out of their fucking mind. They're off their gourd. They're literally like chroming their face and shit. Like everyone's very, in a different mindset. So maybe they just wouldn't notice, or they wouldn't, recognize faces or pick up on certain things. So now let's get into something that I'm sure everybody wants to hear about: the action. Mad Max Fury Road became very, very well known for its practical effects. using all real stuff. Stunts, actors, cars, vehicles, all of the explosions, all of it being very authentic. Very little CGI. There is CGI in the movie, contrary to popular belief. There is CGI in Fury Road, but it's used to enhance a lot of the practical effects to make them even larger than life. And it never really feels like there's CGI there when it is there. Furiosa does have more CGI. And Furiosa's CGI isn't used in the same way it was in Fury Road. What I mean by that is there's a couple of scenes that it's very clear they're in front of a green screen. It is still majority practical effects. Like, don't mistake me, this isn't like a fucking Marvel movie level, CGI out the wazoo or anything here. But there is noticeably more here, and it does stand out, especially because I went in expecting there to be pretty much none, like there was in Fury Road, where it's, it's sprinkled in here and there for some flavor. But in Furiosa, there are entire sequences that definitely have a lot of CGI elements to them. It's not horrible CGI or anything. We're not talking like it's Beast Wars from the 90s or anything. It's not looking like Jimmy Neutron. But you just do notice them because everything else is practical effects for most of the scenes. So when there are scenes that are a lot of green screen, you're like, that looks super different than what I just saw. What kind of fishy business is afoot here? Now, I understand it's a much bigger movie in terms of like scale than Fury Road, so it's hard to expect all of it to be practical, but it is definitely worth noting that there are some scenes here where it does stand out. Like, I hate to just keep comparing it to Fury Road, but it's super hard not to. So like when you had the big CGI moments in Fury Road, like the storm, that shit still looked like amazing. Like, that looked so like vivid, like it really felt powerful. Like, that CGI was there to enhance and bring more flavor to everything we were experiencing, like physically, like all the practical effects. The CGI here, it doesn't really do the same thing. And I know I already mentioned that, but I wanted to give like a direct example, like with the storm in Fury Road. But overall, I was still very pleased and highly entertained by all of the action sequences. It is so fucking incredible to see like the war boys jumping down, slamming the explosive sticks, throwing the explosive sticks, and they had like some paramotors going and dropping more explosives on the war rig. Like, it was all so good. So fucking good. And one thing that I have to mention here is I just love the world. Like, I love all of like the silly character costumes that George Miller comes up with. They're so good. There's just nothing else really like it. It's just so fucking unique. I'm a huge fan, and I really do think Furiosa is a great film. I don't have any like major complaints. Like, even the CGI thing that I harped on a little bit, to me, didn't ruin it. It didn't take me out of it. It wasn't even like really disappointing or anything per se. It's just something that I noticed where I was like, oh, Fury Road I do think was definitely better in that regard, but Furiosa is still better than the vast majority of things that come out in terms of its action and its practical effects usage, as opposed to putting all of the budget, all their eggs in the basket of CGI. They say, fuck it, we'll do it live. We're going to do it with real actors, real stunts, real environments, real vehicles. Fucking run it. And it's still so thrilling. And it just breathes so much life into a film like this. So Furiosa, I definitely think, is a must-watch movie, especially if you like Mad Max Fury Road. I imagine you probably didn't need my seal of approval on that. If you liked Fury Road, I guarantee you are going to see this no matter what. But plugging Furiosa into the moist meter, I'd easily give this a 90%. It's still a very, very, very good movie. It's about 2.5 hours long, and it tells like 5 chapters. And I don't think it feels 2.5 hours long. Like, this was a like full throttle, just blast. It was great. So yeah, Furiosa, absolute banger. It slapped. That's about it. So yeah. What's worse than being a loser? Being cringe. These are two very powerful forces of shame. Loser and cringe. But what would happen if you combine these two elements? Put them together? Well, Buster, the product of that fusion dance would be Nico D'Ambrosio, a turbo loser cringe specimen, the likes of which this world hasn't seen in many, many moons. Nico D'Ambrosio is a Chicago man who's currently suing 27 women because they didn't enjoy the dates he took them on, and they dared say that to each other in a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, mind you. And Nico, with steam coming out of his ears, said, "This cannot fly in a civilized society. Every woman should be enamored with me and only have positive things to say. Thus, I'm taking you to court, heathens." That's exactly what he's doing. A Chicago man has taken out a defamation lawsuit against 27 women. One man and multiple social media platforms after finding negative posts about him on the "Are We Dating the Same Guy" Facebook group. According to WXYZ ABC Chicago, 31-year-old Nico D'Ambrosio is suing up to 30 women for sharing negative dating reviews on Facebook group "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" He claims that the negative reviews started in November and these people made false and defamatory statements about him. The lawsuit included screenshots from the Facebook group describing Nico as very clingy, very fast, and claiming that he flaunted money very awkwardly and kept talking about how "I don't want to see his bad side." Oh my god, he hit him with the Hulk. "You won't like me when I'm angry." D'Ambrosio is not happy about how he is portrayed and is asking for $75,000 in damages. So if you're oh, that's the end of it. How do you calculate damages from a private Facebook group? What damages did he suffer? He's the Billy Mitchell of bad romance. It's a frivolous lawsuit filed because his feelings got hurt. And I think all of you know by now how I feel about people that try and do this kind of shit. These abhorrent lawsuits made to bully or scare people into silence. I fucking hate it. And this has to be one of the more pathetic examples of this tactic being used. He's suing these women for $75,000, claiming they defamed him with slanderous, untrue remarks. And it hurt his reputation, which is why he's seeking so much money in return for it. But it's a private Facebook group, you goober. Your lawsuit has done significantly more damage to your reputation and put you in the spotlight. I would have never heard of you. Most people would have never known who you were had you not done this ridiculous lawsuit. You pitiful, whiny little worm. Douchebag. It's ridiculous. So, what happened is, a group of women that had dated Nico or met him, gone on dates with Nico occasionally, all talked about it in a group chat called "Are We Dating the Same Guy?", which is a private Facebook community that's supposed to talk about women's experiences with a particular individual and just go over maybe some of the red flags that they encountered on their date. And it's just them going over their experience. That's it, in a private Facebook group. And with Nico, they were saying things like, "Hey, he got very clingy very fast," or "the date just was unremarkable," or "he ghosted me." It was never anything mean or slanderous or anything like that, and it was never even fucking publicly put out there. Nico went out of his way and found it and got so hurt and offended that he issued this lawsuit. So he now put all of this in the public eye. So now his face is on it like a fucking wanted poster in One Piece with a 75,000 berry bounty on him being a goddamn cringelord. All because some women that went on dates with him didn't really enjoy his company. Mentioning those things that I briefly touched on, but then also saying that he would talk about money pretty quickly and flaunt it or whatever. From everything I've seen, it's just super tame stuff. But even if they were being brutal about it, man, Nico is a real cuck. This guy was terrible. Our date sucked. Worst sex of my life. I couldn't imagine a man worse at sex than Nico. They can still say that. You still can't sue them for giving their opinion on how the date went with you or anything like that. That's still completely fine. They're not going out there and defaming you or slandering you. It's a private Facebook group. They weren't going out there making fraudulent claims about you, saying things like Nico evades his taxes, Nico is an animal abuser. They were just sharing their opinion on you and the date, which they are totally well within their right to do. It's completely legal. The same way it's completely fine for me to say that you are a loser. I can say that. You can't sue me for calling you a loser and insulting you. It's not defamatory. You are a loser. We met organically in Chicago 2.5 months ago. Very clingy, very fast. I think that's what we just read. He came to see me yesterday and I explained, I think is what that is. After I blocked his number, he texted me on another one, which is the other text screenshot. Fuck. It's too small to read. Damn it. He alleges the woman initially shared the post under her real name, but deleted and reposted anonymously after his lawyers made contact last month. You're not even allowed to just say it was a bad date. You can't just tell other people you had a bad date. I mean, it's just a fucking Facebook group. I matched with him a month or so ago, but convo never went anywhere. I went out with him a few times just over a year ago. He told me what I wanted to hear until I slept with him, and then he ghosted. I'd steer clear. He's been posted here before. The poster said he sent her a slew of texts calling her names because she didn't want to spend the night with him. I just searched and this was on November 2nd, so take a look. They got the APB out on this guy. And damages because he's the victim of defamation, doxing, privacy invasion, according to the suit. The defendants broadcast their outrageous, cruel, and malicious lies about the plaintiff with knowledge that the statements were false or with reckless disregard as whether or not they were true. This wrongful conduct is so outrageous in character and so extreme in degree that is beyond all possible bounds of decency. It is to be regarded as atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized community. Brother, this is like the most lukewarm ratings ever. Like, hey, the combo didn't go anywhere. Hey, he ghosted me after I slept with him. Just maybe avoid him. Like, what the fuck? They're not even being vicious or anything. They're just like, hey, this is my experience. I didn't really like it. And he's like, no! No! My pussy is ruined! There's a tier 1 Kraken. I wonder if he'd sue me. I haven't been on a date with Mr. Nick D'Ambrosio, but I will say, he seems like a very insecure, sensitive little bitch. And a coward. I'd urge any Chicago women to probably steer clear of him as well. I wonder if I can get added to that suit. Bro wants to prove in court that he's not cringe. It's too bad, I already know better. You have been firmly judged as cringe. No chance of parole. That was a $50,000 statement. Low-key just advertising his Riz. Yeah, his lawsuit Riz. Pretty cool. I want you to read this statement again. Their wrongful conduct is so outrageous in character and so extreme in degree that it is beyond all possible bounds of decency and is to be regarded as atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized community, the lawsuit said. It's like they're referring to some kind of hate crime that they all just witnessed or were exposed to. If they thought those text messages they highlighted about him being clingy or whatever were so atrocious and extreme in nature, I can only imagine how Nico and his legal team are reacting to watching this video right now and the things I'm saying about him. Their jaws must be on the floor, furiously drafting up some kind of legal document for me, like fucking flames and like smoke coming off of the page as they're writing it all down. And I've never even met Nico, and I think he super sucks. I think Chicago women should definitely avoid him. Like, just look at the way he reacted for women that just shared their experience of having a less than stellar time with him. He will shut down your opinions, it seems. He does not want anyone to have an opinion of their own, only the opinion he wants you to have of him. What a piece of shit. How can you be so insecure and weak that when you find this, instead of learning from it like, maybe the problem really is me. Maybe that's why I haven't had a real relationship out of the last 27 dates I went on. Yeah, maybe I should really reflect on that. Instead of that, he goes, "Where's my lawyers? Do you see these mean words they're saying about me in this group chat? They called me clingy. Me? They called me clingy. Come on, we ought to sue them. 75 grand, maybe, at least? Like, that's probably how much my tears are worth." I also can't help but appreciate the delusion from the rest of it, too. Saying things like, thousands of men have been potentially defamed by members of the group via these online publications and remain entirely unaware of the attacks on their character as a result of the social media group's private status and heavily moderated members list, the suit says. Can you just wrap your head around the ridiculousness of that statement? They are openly saying that it is private and heavily moderated, and that the individuals that are being talked about there are most likely entirely unaware. Because this is basically just a tight-knit community discussing their experience privately with each other. It's no different than a break room conversation with coworkers talking. You can't sue someone for a conversation they had privately with others about you. You are going after people for their opinion of you. They are not defaming you or anything like that. And since it's not public, they're not even bringing awareness to you being a weirdo. They are just talking privately with each other about like, hey, listen, this guy was kind of shitty. I didn't really enjoy it. Like, that's it. So if you match with him, just know I didn't have a great time. Maybe you will, but here were a couple of the red flags I noticed. That's totally fine, totally reasonable. There is nothing wrong with it, and this guy is still crying. It's crazy. And the lawsuit's trying to make it seem like it's some kind of almost noble cause, like this shadow organization working in secret has been defaming thousands of men for so long, and the men don't even know it. It's called just having a conversation in a group chat. It's not illegal. You can't sue for that. At least you shouldn't be able to. But this guy clearly has a ton of money at his disposal, And we all know how this system works. We just saw it fucking unfold with Billy Mitchell, actually, since I name dropped him earlier. If you have a lot of money, you stand a much better chance of winning, even if it's the most outrageous shit ever. So I'm really hoping this doesn't go anywhere, because it is so fucking stupid and shameful. This man, Nico D'Ambrosio, and his entire legal team are absolute clowns. So I just wanted to talk about it a bit more. That's really about it. See ya. Frustrated dragon throws bottle at entrepreneur. I don't think it's as intense as he makes it out to be, but god damn it, I've gotta know. Fucking shatters a glass bottle over his head. Ah, she's beautiful. It's like a little accordion.
Pocket bottle.
Ah.
So, repocket, and like your keys or a mobile phone, you can always have it with
Guy,
you.
I've immediately sniffed out a problem. You have to finish the entire bottle every time, or else you can't use it.
So you can find water. Kit for bottled water is now worth $80 billion a year.
All of it held
But
by
last
Nestle.
year, for the first time in its
Pretty
30-year
much.
history, sales of bottled
That company
water started
fucks.
to fall.
That's some
Now,
crazy
at the same
shit.
time, when there's a choice,
Guy, Nestle will literally
a choice
murder
between
you
£100 for
if you
all
try and
these
compete.
wasted bottles, or
You will not make it in the bottled water industry. Get out now, Guy. Yeah, Nestle has literally murdered babies.
You pitched this.
Not
I
like
think
personally, but they have led to the
made
death of a ton of
statement
babies.
that's
They're
a complete
fucked.
red herring. So you are not going to, at any point, penetrate the $80 billion market.
Not yet.
the idea is you don't
But
need to buy that if you always have a
I can dream
receptacle
about
that
it.
you can fill up.
This is not a replacement for that, is it?
Yes. Are you investing or not? I don't. What are you saying?
Tetchy exchange.
What do you want
What
from
a
me?
good
I made a
start
crinkly
for the
water bottle.
entrepreneur.
A turnover of £700
Yeah.
that you're valuing at £1 million.
Yes.
Is that correct? I've got
Yes,
those
that
numbers
is correct.
correct. haven't I?
100%. Are you wet yet?
I'm going to make it
You
very
hard?
easy for you and just tell you I'm out.
Your loss. Give me my water bottle back.
Guy's confidence takes.
Complete waste of time. It's just, you might as well just have a paper cup. And then you're talking about going around fountains that are around.
I can't understand you. What? Do you like
Drink
it?
the water free. You turn the tap.
Sounds like
The
you're having
most
fun thinking about it.
environmentally friendly way to drink that water is to drink it straight out the tap. You are therefore harming the environment by a bottle that you say is here to stop these bottles. You might as well throw it at my mug. So it's a terrible invention. I'm sorry, guys. Really made me angry. And it's £4.99. You can buy them full of water for 80
Can we get a
pence.
translator?
It's ridiculous,
And will
it's
you start
ludicrous.
over?
I'm sorry, but I'm out.
I understood that. Are you sure?
An irritated Duncan.
It would take me 9 months of use for this to be a better and more efficient way of doing it.
Well,
than...
first of all,
Maybe,
you have the
but
health
you'd
risk
make
of
me happy if
reusing
you
a
invested
single-use
now,
bottle that you
if
can put in the
possible.
dishwasher. I've noticed a hysteria about, people get excited about this bottle. It's
You
the
honestly believe
Ooh.
that people go around with this in their pocket?
Who gets excited about a
looking
water bottle?
in their busy schedules for somewhere to fill it?
Well, that's because you break a water bottle every
Rather than have a
week.
convenient bottle which they can
You get a
buy
new one,
from
it's like fucking
anywhere.
Christmas. Ah, a new one to
Go
break.
into a
Ooh.
shop and say, look,
That
I'm
is
not
true.
gonna
You
buy
could
your
like
water.
toss them on the ground like you're
Fill
spiking a football after a touchdown.
I wouldn't go into a newsagent. That's
What is the refillable
They're
bottle
penetrating this
market?
man's anus
Answer
because he
only that
gave them a
question.
crinkly water bottle.
a refillable. It's a range of different
Those are a
types of
trend.
bottles that people can buy
Were they?
to take to school, to take to work.
It looks
to
like he
take
proved them all
to
wrong.
Walking, outdoor
No,
pursuits.
It's a
because they're
sports
supposed to be
bottle.
like fit in your
That's
pocket and
afraid.
you fill it up. And
Again, Duncan's already said. when
Jesus, you
doing
sound like an
sports,
investor in
you've
Guy's
got a bag.
company. Yeah, that's exactly what he was saying.
You've got
accumulate through bottled water. People
Yes.
just need to use taps. But I
Don't act like you
like
use a
the
tap, you're a
fact that
multi-billionaire.
You have to use this 3
You have your
times to
butler
make it
fill up the
even
tap water and then
popular
throw it on the
because
plants
it
outside while you
knows
drink
the
Fiji.
difference that it actually
Don't lie to me, Deborah.
makes. I would like to see
the samples, I might make a wrong investment decision.
You fucking boomer.
They have no psychotropical effect whatsoever. Yeah.
What a boomer. It's CBD, Peter,
Now they've
not
reassured the
heroin.
dragons the products aren't
Though we do have
mind-altering.
that too if you want it.
Tim Inskip.
To ask for £200,000 in return for 2% equity.
Ooh.
Drivers are currently
Entrepreneur behind the app that aims to solve our parking dilemmas. He's offering
Dan's got a
2%
decent idea, I
equity
will say.
in exchange for a
Especially if
hefty
everyone in the UK is
£200,000
fucking driving around
investment.
aimlessly for 20 minutes looking for a parking spot.
Are you able to tell me where there is an empty parking space?
No,
Yes.
How'd you do that?
I don't. I guess.
So this is an
Hope I get
on-screen
lucky.
sensor.
So the answer is that
Pay
you
to
can do
win
this by
parking.
using sensors.
Yeah.
To myself, he's not here for the money.
He's here to just flop his cock
That's
out
not
on us.
actually-
But there is a risk to anything here. There are
That
many
risk is I might
companies
make
such as
too much
yourselves, as
money.
You will know.
What the fuck is James Corden gonna do for you? Just say no,
You know
move on.
You've got the right to say no. Here we go.
I have to say no to that.
Well,
What I would...
don't be surprised if your car tires are slashed.
1,000.
Yeah, okay.
So 5% each.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. No, absolutely. You're out of your mind, Peter. No, no. What?
5%
No.
in total.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you keep that attitude up, it's going to 4. So.
An audacious counter 2 dragons be prepared to compromise.
These dragons fighting over crumbs of his
15%
company.
less than they originally
Have some
offered.
class. Say no 20%, no deal. And I'm stealing your car.
I just wonder if we dropped to 15%.
Just laugh in their face. Give a belly laugh. Ha 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 ha.
I can't do 15, I'm sorry.
Don't say I'm sorry. You say fuck no.
Are you sure, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. That's a
How much
hard.
time?
That's a hard
I'll give you back
man.
your polite notice and hope that you don't regret it.
This is a hard man. I like that. Yeah, here it is by Dan Hubert. What are we looking at? Defunct. Peter burned it down. What do we got? 7.6 million investments, including Hyundai, Sumitomo. Yeah. Valued at 50 million. Hey Peter, how does 2.5% of that sound now? That's impressive. Good work though, Dan. I like that. That's cute. That's a happy ending right there.
Papers say it's
100%.
trademarked.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And it's been valued at approximately 40
Obviously, we
bucks.
applied
So
for the trademark.
sitting on
It was
gold,
granted,
Deborah.
But then there was an
I guess. All right, I have to know. How's Pro Gains doing? This reads like fake fan fiction. Who the fuck offered him 90 million? Blue Apron wasn't even offered 90 million when they were on the verge of collapse. What? I've started selling cheap raw meat. What? Is this a joke? This is a joke. Is Birmingham Mail? Oh, it's probably like a Daily Mail subsidiary. It's totally fake then. I have sworn multiple times that I would stop talking about EDP 445, but just like most people's New Year's resolutions about going to the gym, I'm going to have to break it. Every few months for the last couple of years, like clockwork, he will try and come back to the internet after his historic fall from grace after being caught in the now infamous cupcake sting operation that outed him as a predator. He'll come back with an almost cartoonish development. He has been on this non-stop wild and wacky roller coaster of crazy goofy shit that he tries. He's this gift that just keeps on giving with the amount of unbelievable shit he tries, like an everlasting gobstopper of goofs. I've compared him to the box ghost from Danny Phantom, and I think that is just the most apt comparison. He's just this silly villain that keeps popping up every now and then just for people to laugh him off the face of the internet, but he'll always come back as a cameo in later episodes. And that's why we're talking about him again today, because it's that time of the year where EDP tries to make a claim that he's innocent. And this time, he's saying, actually, it was all acting. He was only pretending to be a pedophile. He was method acting as a child molester, as part of a movie production. I know that sounds unbelievable. That sounds like I just made that shit up in a game of Mad Libs, but I'm being serious. That is the angle he's trying. He posted an entire breakdown of his defense that this was all a setup, that it was supposed to just be improv acting, but they published it as a real thing and it cost him his whole career. Now, before diving into the fanfic that EDP tries to craft here like he's working on a fucking Tumblr blog, I do want to make it clear that even though the Cupcake Doomsday sting operation was the apocalypse that brought down the world of EDP, it's far from the only instance of him talking inappropriately and sexually with minors. This was just the only one where they actually caught him in video. You know, this was no longer just blurry photos of Sasquatch or rumors. They finally had him on video, flirting with, and then even going to a physical location to meet someone he believed to be a child. This followed sexually charged conversations as well as inappropriate pictures, including a picture of his poopy in a toilet, an actual shit pic. I make sure to mention that anytime EDP's name comes up because god damn it, that shit is crazy. And following all that, he went to the physical location to meet someone he believed to be a kid, and said the reason he was there was actually because his belly was empty, his tummy was growling for a cupcake, which is why it became known as the Cupcake Incident. But this is just focusing on that video and not any of the other numerous claims and evidence about the way he talked to children and all of that. So let's take it from the top here in the timeline of events. He lays out all the lore, and it dates all the way back to 2019. So he's laying out the goddamn Silmarillion here, preceding the Lord of the Rings events that take place later on. So in 2019, he flew out to Philadelphia for the world premiere of Maybe Next Year, which he was featured in. I suppose this was his acting debut, and that's crucial knowledge here because fast forward to 2021, he received an email from Chet Goldstein, who was the person conducting the investigation on EDP at the time, and he's claiming that in 2021, Chet Goldstein reached out to him, letting him know how impressed he was with EDP's performance in that documentary, saying that he was impressed with his work from Maybe Next Year and wanted to give him a shot for a different part in a film that Chet Goldstein was working on at the time. So he drops a receipt here of an email that basically just echoes that, saying, hey, you know, your work was fucking amazing. Can't believe you didn't win an Oscar. Would love to have you as part of this next production if you're willing to try out for it. Get back to me. EDP responds, ecstatic to take this role. This was really going to blow up his acting career. He confirms an address with him, that it's a Rite Aid location they're meeting at. Chet Goldstein says that, their cameraman will meet them at the Rite Aid parking lot, and it's going to be a random scene that they're going to act out for 30 to 40 minutes to see if he's fit for filming. He says, the scene we may ask you to act out may seem a bit odd, and I may crack some jokes and be rude in certain parts of the shoot that may seem offensive to you, but keep in mind, we have a protocol of situations we may throw at you to see how you respond and act in helping us determine if you're fit for the part. If selected for the part for the film we're shooting in Bakersville in October, we'll reach out in 7 to 14 business days for our meeting. Please message me back to confirm this date. So this is his bombshell, shocking revelation plot twist moment where you see Chet Goldstein actually was just wanting me to act, improv to make sure I was, up to snuff here with the role that I'd be required to play for his production. I was under the impression this was all part of the acting, which even upon hearing this excuse is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever heard. No, you remember that incident from 2 years ago. Keep in mind, he's just now posting this 2 years later. I'm guessing this idea came to him in a dream recently to try this garbage. But, why wait 2 years if this is all legitimate? But regardless, all of that pedophile shit, no, that's just because I was a very good actor. I actually fooled all of you. It was acting, but I'm really upset because, I was misled. I was instructed to improv. I had no idea this was going to be the result. But I know what you're thinking, Charles, he posted receipts, he posted emails right there. There's proof, there's evidence to support these outrageous claims. Sometimes reality can be stranger than fiction. And to that I say, I do not like those green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. These are fucking poorly photoshopped emails that he posts. He couldn't even Photoshop or crop it correctly. Look at Chet Goldstein's name. You can still see some of the black flakes at the top where Chet Goldstein was pasted on top of whatever this email originally was, and none of it's even centered in the first place. It doesn't even convincingly look like real emails. It is awful. It is terribly done. And to go even a step further, I can literally hear EDP's voice in the Chet Goldstein text here. He caps locked respond and act, as if that's supposed to drive the point home, no, look, it's real. This is super real because respond and act. That's a key word. I'm going to have to capitalize that one so that way people know that this is key. It's blatantly fake. These aren't real emails. But you know what? I'm always willing to play ball and suspend disbelief. Let's assume that this is real somehow. And the odds of this being even remotely real are beyond minuscule, incalculably low odds, but let's assume they are. It still doesn't explain away all of his other repeated behavior with the way he talks to minors or anything like that, and it doesn't even explain away the video itself. There's nothing in there that even gets corroborated with these emails he releases. Nothing checks out, even still, with the video itself and the claims he's making. He did an interview with an AI, I guess. I don't really know, but he's doing this interview with some kind of AI interviewer using some kind of fucking voice modulator. And the way he explains it is even more silly.
He had his business card attached to the email. Okay, and that was shortly after the movie, maybe next year or so. You put kind of 2 and 2 together, and everything aligned to this actually being an opportunity for you.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so Chet emails you and tells you to meet him at the apartment complex? I'm sorry, maybe I'm not understanding.
Well, again, you know, the original meetup spot was at the Rite Aid.
In what fucking solar system would someone be so stupid as to get a random email from someone claiming to be a movie producer who just reached out to you with a cold call saying, hey, your fucking performance in this documentary was superb, spectacular stuff. Come meet me at a Rite Aid where I'm going to have you play a child predator. Would you think that that's a good opportunity? So let's assume he didn't know he was going to be acting as a pedophile. The second that they start spitballing this improv at him, like, okay, so all of these chat logs with this child, you're a pedophile, you're a pedophile. Why would he play along with it? What opportunity did you think this was? How would portraying a child molester be like this golden goose for you? You are already a successful YouTuber with millions of subscribers, but this was your ticket to the big time? You know, this role you thought you were playing, like the role of method acting a fucking pedophile? That makes no sense. That is inexplicably ridiculous.
You know what I mean? And then the camera guy, Javier, he actually walked me over to the apartment complex. So in the fucking email, it was just, you know, boom, right here at the Rite Aid. And then camera guy is the one who walked me over to the apartment complex. This is the first time I ever seen this fucking apartment complex. You know what I mean?
This does absolutely nothing to help proclaim his innocence here. If it was at the Rite Aid or the apartment complex, it doesn't fucking change anything. The clips he's showing, the Rite Aid only comes in the frame when EDP is leaving after they're talking about calling the cops and everything. That is when he is actually, like, making his grand getaway from this situation. He starts by going up to the apartment complex and then leaves going out by the Rite Aid.
Do you have any indication on what you're walking into, what type of scene you're going to be acting out?
He didn't tell me shit, basically. You know what I mean? He basically just said, hey, we got some chat logs here. We're going to improv this bitch. Go along with it. I'm just like, all right, cool. So... And then again, you know what I mean? It's like, how the fuck was I supposed to know this was a goddamn, you know, how the fuck was I supposed to know that this was a goddamn setup? Like, it's like, you know, you have fucking business cards, you have the official wavelength bullshit, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers is emailing you and shit. It's like, anybody in their right fucking mind would have thought that this was legit.
I speak for every single living, breathing human being on this planet in saying that nobody in their right mind would have thought this is legit. At all. I will suspend disbelief yet again here to just toy around with this idea. Why the fuck would you even improv this kind of scene? Did you want the role of a pedophile? Did you want that to be your acting legacy? The follow-up to your magnum opus performance in maybe next year you wanted to be the child predator? What sense does that fucking make? This is the dumbest defense ever. And he doesn't even do anything to, like, somehow explain away everything he says and does in the video itself. None of this explains any of it. And this fucking email screenshots are fake emails to begin with. The whole thing is so stupid. But it is laughable that he is actually trying this with a straight face. Obviously, this is yet again another desperate attempt to prove that he's never been a child predator, even though there is overwhelming amounts of evidence, even outside of this big video that came from it. There is still so much evidence against him, and really the only reason he never faced jail time is because the investigation was done by YouTubers and not done in collaboration with law enforcement, so he was able to squeak away based on that, which is something that has happened a lot, unfortunately. So it's crazy he's not even in jail, honestly. And he still keeps trying to come back to the internet. Even after all of this time and all of this shit, he still keeps doing ridiculously goofy shit, like what you just saw there, with trying to say, he's not a pedophile, he was only acting. Wild stuff. I just wanted to give a little update here and share that. That's about it. See ya. It's not often talked about, but I think it's something important to finally shine a light on some heroes in the YouTube community. The pranksters. It's a very dangerous occupation. In fact, there's already been 2 pranksters that have died for their craft, risking it all for the sake of nobody's entertainment, because that shit sucks. The vast majority of YouTube pranksters are these carbon copy clones of pranks that were popular 10 years ago for children that have now grown up and find it cringe. But for some reason, there still are channels that do the exact same pranks that were popular a decade ago, hoping that it'll catch fire once again. And for the most part, it hasn't, though there are a few exceptions for prank channels that are popular and people do still appreciate them. But I would argue at least they're trying different things. Even though I'm not big into prank content, some of the ones that are popular aren't doing the same exact shit from 10 years ago. You know, the stepping on people's shoes in the hood prank. That kind of shit that used to be super huge. There are still channels that try that and completely fall flat because no one wants to see it. It's trash. And what a lot of people learned is the vast majority of prank channels faked it. And for obvious reason, because you can't really go around with the whole giving people a titty twister in the hood prank gone wrong and expect not to get your ass beat. So they'd have to fake the whole scenario in order for the video to work, so that way they didn't end up in the fucking hospital or in the ground in a goddamn coffin. But a lot of kids that grew up on that content must have not realized that they were fake, because twice now in the last couple of years, 2 pranksters have been shot. One of them died. He was doing the fake robbery prank where he charged at someone in a parking lot with a knife. The person turned around and just fucking executed him like John Wick. So he got shot and died for it. And now, what we're talking about today, a YouTube prankster named Tanner Cook pulled some prank in a mall that they haven't revealed what it was yet, that ended up getting him shot in the stomach and nearly killed him. But he pulled through. And in fact, this is actually a heartwarming tale because he got shot and he immediately learned that that was great for his channel growth. So his channel grew by like 5,000 subscribers, and he made it clear in his interview after surviving the shooting and after surgery that he can't wait to get back to doing more of that content. He's an up-and-coming YouTube sensation. He does pranks where he's just a public nuisance. So he was doing a prank video in the mall, and a guy pulled out a gun and shot him in the stomach. It was a critical injury, but he's pulled through. And luckily, this has really helped open his eyes, because he gave an interview where he said he can't wait to get back to doing it because it's his passion. Doing shitty pranks got him shot, and he can't wait to go back to doing more shitty pranks. Oh no, this is the aftermath of the shooting. Where's the interview? Is it this one?
Tonight you'll hear from the 21-year-old YouTuber shot at Dulles Town Center in Virginia.
Our map. USA 9 and 31-year-old Alan Coley. This witness capturing the moment deputies arrested Coley, who is now facing felony charges including aggravated malicious wounding.
I was just playing a prank, a simple practical joke, and the guy didn't take it very well and shot me.
Officials not fierce. And even after being shot, Cook says he plans to continue making videos because it's his passion. Now giving this simple statement to the community.
Just
wholesome.
Stay safe out there.
To be clear, the Loudoun County Sheriff.
What a great takeaway. He can't wait to get back to it because it's his passion. Bothering people and filming it for your YouTube pranks. Hey, at the very least, he's not faking the pranks. And I guarantee he said it's just a prank, bro, after he got shot. I guarantee it. This is not the only time this has happened. I actually covered a story like this, I think 2 years ago. YouTube prankster tried to play a prank in a parking lot, and the prank was killer clowns or something. So he charged them with a knife, and someone turned around and shot him, and he died. This is far from the only time a prankster's been shot. She killed her boyfriend while doing a YouTube prank. That's another one I talked about. That one's like old. That's like 2016. I don't even know what the prank was. But basically it boiled down to this couple wanted to make a viral YouTube prank. So a guy held up a book in front of his chest and his girlfriend shot him. And unsurprisingly, the bullet went straight through the book, straight through his chest, and killed him. Don't know what the prank was, but yeah, that was another one. It was a fucking Desert Eagle, too. Yeah, it was. She shot him with like a fucking fat round. Desert Eagle versus Dictionary. Yeah, I guess so. Wasn't a very competitive match. A lot of people always ask me what happened to the girl who shot her boyfriend, so I'll just give you a little bit of closure to this story. She did go to jail for a short period of time and is now under 10 years probation, and she's also banned from owning firearms, obviously. So that's kind of what happened there. And it's just a really tragic story where the pursuit of clout ended up with someone dead from one of the dumbest fucking ideas of all time. I still to this day can't fully figure out what the actual plan was. They both thought that a thick book would stop a bullet from a fucking Desert Eagle. They must have been mainlining stupid juice or something, just fucking injecting dumb particles right into their body to make them think that would work. So they even hyped it up like this is going to be one of the most dangerous videos we'll ever film. And so he grabbed an encyclopedia and she fired a fucking Desert Eagle at him, which obviously just tore straight through the encyclopedia and killed him, as 30 onlookers watched on. So I guess they turned this into like some kind of spectator sport and invited friends and family over to watch. I don't know if prank is even the right word for it. I think this was supposed to be some kind of like, you know, death-defying stunt. But there was no defying. There was just death. So he died, and that, of course, has been a very sad story because they did have a child together and she was pregnant with another child at the time. And that's kind of where that one wrapped up. I believe this was the first case of a YouTube prankster getting shot and dying as a result of a prank. So they were kind of pioneers in that field there. They were the first to do it. But anyway, let's get back to talking about Tanner Cook. His pranks are generic as they get. It's like if you ask ChatGPT to come up with prank ideas for you. It's just absolute clone of 10 years ago pranks. Being obnoxious and trying to make people upset so that way you can get a video out of the whole situation. It's just the same tried and true formula that worked 10 years ago and doesn't really work anymore. But there are people like Tanner that continue to try. I don't really know how you have a passion for making that kind of content. It's just having a passion for being an asshole, which is just a weird thing to say with pride. Now what's brutal is Tanner's own audience is eating him alive like piranhas that just had a piece of lunch meat dropped into the pond. He is getting torn to shreds in the comments saying things like, can't wait for Tanner to post the crying video and shit like that. It's brutal. Now, there's even people trying to defend the shooter, saying that maybe Tanner was doing like a dangerous prank and was shot in self-defense. I guess it is possible, but unlikely. I don't think Tanner was doing a, you know, knife robbery prank or anything like that. He was probably just doing more of his obnoxious, annoying pranks, and getting shot for that is clearly some unhinged shit. I'm not someone that's cheering for the shooter. And I watched Mudahar's video on it, and he even revealed some information about the shooter as well that makes it pretty clear this guy was not exactly any kind of hero even before this shooting, assuming all of that information is accurate. I would wager a guess that the prank Tanner pulled was once again one of his stupid fucking, you know, fake Target employee things where he's asking people to smoke with him and just constantly pestering him. And you don't deserve to be shot for that. You deserve to be bullied and made fun of for that. Not shot. That's not exactly a good excuse to fucking shoot somebody because they were obnoxious. Now again, I don't know what the prank was. I guess there is a non-zero chance he was doing one of the dangerous pranks where, you know, threatening someone with a knife or making threats to somebody, and then you could probably make an argument that maybe it was self-defense. But we just don't know right now, and I'm very curious to see what comes from this because the shooter is of course being charged. Like, he didn't just shoot this guy and the cops are like, well, he was cringe, so you're free to go, sir. Like, he is obviously being charged for shooting this man. And we don't know exactly what led to it, so that's something I'm going to keep my eye on. But this was absolutely a massive fuck around and find out moment, and he still didn't learn anything from it, it seems. He sounds like plans on going right back to doing these pranks for his channel, which is just crazy to me. That blows my mind. To be so lost in the sauce that even after getting shot, it only further cements their belief that he is in the right and he is making bangers because he just got shot for it. That's, I don't know, that is absolutely wild to me. But anyway, just wanted to talk about this a little bit because this is once again another case where a YouTube prankster gets themselves shot. That's about it. See ya. Yeah, I'm wrapping up 2023 with the season finale, my own little YouTube rewind, where I go back through the internet's most insufferable worms from this year that I haven't previously covered, and I make fun of them now. Yesterday, it was Illuminati on the chopping block. Today, we're shooting spitballs at Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty's infamy online reached its crescendo about a month ago, hitting its peak, mainly because he became known as just this punching bag. His face was a knuckle sandwich magnet, so Most of his viral clips were him getting slapped or being involved in some kind of fight that broke out, because he truly is just an insufferable asshole to be around. Now, make no mistake, don't misconstrue my words, Jack Doherty isn't the one fighting. He's the one getting beat like a drum, and I don't think I've ever seen him throw anything beyond one wet noodle punch that didn't connect. He usually has his bodyguards fight his battles for him, with conflicts that he starts and instigates, but he's around fights all the time. It's just, when you get near Jack Doherty, it's like a Dementor. It sucks the fun out of everything, and everyone gets uncomfortable and mad at him. He just has this indescribable X-Men mutation about him that makes him impossible to be around while also being in a good mood. So I'm going to go ahead and show you his most viral clip that ever came out from him, the legacy for which he will always be remembered. This is his magnum opus.
Go. Where we at? What? Little Prompt, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, Little Prompt? Yeah. Yeah.
This is Jack's iconic shtick, where he walks around causing a ruckus, just being this menace to society, harassing people, and then trying to get a rise out of them. The second someone looks like they're ready to get confrontational with Jack, he has his security guards swoop in and stop it, just put the kibosh on it immediately. He travels with his bodyguards that are basically his babysitters, his nannies, really his guardian angels. They're the only thing that's kept him alive this long, because he is such a piece of shit. Everybody wants to fight him when he does things like this, but his bodyguards protect him. And he still has the gall, the fucking chutzpah, to stand behind his bodyguards, peek his head over, and continue to insult the person. He actually looks like a cartoon villain out of Popeye. Like, look at the way he conducts himself. It's so bad. This would be the most embarrassing moment to somebody else, but for Jack, it's his proudest moment. Now, when it comes to insulting Jack Dorky here, I actually have skin in this game. Just like an 80s action movie tagline, this time it's personal. When I say he is insufferable to be around, I'm not just basing that off of the videos I see of him. I actually know Jack Doherty in real life. In fact, he was in one of my videos 4 years ago, but you probably didn't know that because I did my absolute best to edit him out of it. It's from a video 4 years ago when the local Tampa Police Department challenged me to complete their police academy. This was during the time where I was watching live PD and talking about police activity, making jokes about it. They invited me out there to try it myself. Well, Jack Doherty actually happened to be there on that same day. Despite my best efforts to rewrite history, you can't fully erase the stain. You can see the cringe cryptid right there in the yellow shirt. This is a young Jack Doherty spotting. At the time of filming that video, Jack would have been 16 years old. And I know it's not exactly cool to bully a child, but this wasn't a child, this was a demon. It's not just me that had an extremely negative impression of Jack on that day. Matt, Andrew, Tiana, and the officers all had nothing good to say about their experience being around Jack Doherty for like the 6 hours we were there. He was one of the most disrespectful people I had ever seen in person. For some reason, he was extremely loud most of the day, so anytime he tried to talk, he'd kind of yell it at the officers or anyone he was talking to, I suppose. It was like he was trying to get into a screaming match on an Xbox Live lobby for no reason. Like, I think that was just him trying to be hype for his video or something, but man, it was extremely annoying. But beyond that, anytime we were about to do one of the tests, or if the officers were trying to tell us something about one of the tests, he'd be like interrupting them frequently, and the yelling was giving me a goddamn headache. Like, none of us had anything positive to say about Jack. The only thing is, we all understood that he was a child, and he found internet fame extremely young. So clearly that had a poisonous effect on his mind, and we had all just kind of expected that he's going through a phase most likely, and he'd eventually grow out of this. But not only did he not grow height-wise, he also didn't grow personality-wise. His attitude is exactly the same. His face looks exactly the same as when he was a 13-year-old boy, which is highly unlucky for him, and maybe that explains why he lashes out so often. But overall, over the last 4 years, he's just gotten worse. He's gotten more degenerate, more aggressive, more hostile, and he's just a giant piece of shit now. Since he's had internet fame for so long, he truly believes that he is some kind of deity, this kind of internet god, and everyone is beneath him. He thinks he's superior to just the plebeians around him, so he uses all the strangers he comes in contact with on stream as props for his content, and his big thing is still basically having his bodyguard protect him all of the time, which is so fucking pathetic. But anyway, let's dive into a bit more of the Sack Doherty lore. So he makes most of his money through OnlyFans. He manages a lot of OnlyFans girls, as well as having an OnlyFans of his own, which I think if you sign up for that, you need to be put on some kind of FBI watch list, because this looks like a child. That is a very fucking awful OnlyFans page to be subscribing to. You probably need to be investigated. But he makes all of his money there, basically, and he will never let you forget he is making a lot of money through managing these OnlyFans models. He frequently posts these flexes, talk shit all you want, you wish you could spend this much on your credit card in just 2 weeks, and it's just an absurd amount of money that he's dumping on garbage. He posts these at least once a week, and it's clearly engagement farming. He's just baiting people into getting mad at him and just shitting on him, because he's realized that that is his formula to success. He'll just cosplay as the communal urinal for the internet to collectively come take a piss in, because it gets him a little money off of like the Twitter posts, but maybe it gets him a couple extra OnlyFans subscribers or a few curious kids that'll watch his stream to see what kind of degeneracy unfolds. He's basically playing the villain. He's leaning into the role. I always find this to be an extremely sad path to take, because he is actually just becoming the clown on purpose, and eventually he's going to grow up. It's going to happen at some point, and it's going to be nothing but shame for him, I imagine, because who in the world would possibly want the legacy of just being the hated douchebag? That's not something to be proud of. Even if you do have a lot of money in your bank account from it, I can't imagine it feels good to explain to your friends and family how you got that money, because everyone dislikes you and makes fun of you. Like, there's no way that that's a rewarding experience. I don't think there's any reason to show you any more of his clips. They're all just infuriating garbage. It's just eye-rolling trash. Like, even just yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, he got into a confrontation with a bouncer over, like, a fake ID or something, according to the headlines. And it's once again just Sack Doherty being the little goblin that he is. Just this little douchebag. And just an entitled asshole. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about him a little bit since I haven't talked about him all year, and I do actually know him. I'm using know really loosely. I met him one time, but that was enough to get an extremely accurate gauge on the kind of person he was then, and all I could do was pray that he wouldn't be that person in the future. But he became so much worse down the line, which is almost impressive, actually. So yeah, just wanted to talk about him a little bit. That's it. So yeah. For a couple months now, so many of you have been asking me if I'm going to be making a moist meter on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and I've always proudly proclaimed, yes, of course I'll be making a moist meter for it. You bet your sweet bippy. But, unfortunately, just like Fire Festival, I lied. I'm a big fat liar, and Frankie Muniz ain't the one exposing me. I'm doing it myself. I pulled your leg, I yanked your chain, and I'm not sorry. I'm not making a moist meter. I'm making this video. I'm just gonna sit here and gushing grannies over Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 because I, no exaggeration, believe it is a masterpiece of action shonen. I know the word masterpiece gets tossed around willy-nilly. It's used very loosey-goosey. It's pretty much lost most of its meaning. It's like the word prank to a YouTuber. Masterpiece doesn't hold the same weight that it used to, but I'm using it in the truest sense of the word. I 100% with my whole heart believe that Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen is legitimately a masterpiece in animation, and action for that matter. Now, before really getting into this, I want to make it clear that I'm not ignorant to the problems at MAPPA. MAPPA is the studio that produces Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and they have been overworking their staff, and it is a tragic situation at the actual MAPPA headquarters, because the work they have produced here is spectacular, but it came at the cost of the health of its employees, and I think that is completely unacceptable. All I can do is hope that MAPPA improves its infrastructure so that way it actually takes care of the talent that makes this possible. It is clear that so much passion went into this season. It oozes out of every frame of this show. It is unbelievable what they were able to do with Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't think they'd even come close to matching the beauty of Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and somehow they came in here and fucking spanked its cheeks red. This is so much better somehow. It is mind-boggling just how good Season 2 is when it comes to its action. So, let me dive into this. I think, and I said this for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, that this is the best pure action that anime has to offer, period. This is about the best it can get in that genre. I don't think there's anything else that really competes with it in terms of what they're able to capture in the anime. Now, that being said, I do understand that a lot of people have complaints about its story and its power scaling, as well as some of its characters not ever really being developed and sometimes just used to, like, shock death and, like, startle viewers. And I do get those complaints. Like, I definitely do feel that in Season 2 here. They introduce some really cool characters, only, like, quickly just kill them off, or even kill off a character that never really had a chance to really be fully explored and be fully fleshed out, even though there were all signs pointing to that being the case. So it feels like at points the narrative was there just to subvert your expectations for the sake of it, which felt a little unsatisfying to see a character's story come to a close the way that it did a couple times. Though other times it really felt like, damn, this is a big important moment, and it does feel like they were sent out in a really fitting way. So it was a couple hits and a couple misses when it came to that, but overall it didn't detract from my enjoyment of the story or the show as a whole. I actually love the universe of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I love the characters. Todo is still my favorite character, and even though he's not as prominent in this season as he was in Season 1, when he's here, he fucking shines. He shines bright like a diamond. I love Todo. And even characters that I didn't really care for in Season 1 have really great moments and even like small arcs in Season 2, like Mechamaru. And it even explores the villain side of things and makes you somewhat sympathetic to a couple of them, like Jogo, for example, who is kind of a joke. But Jogo is really interesting because he only squares off against the strongest possible fucking opponents, so we never really get to see him display his power against people less than godlike and nearly unbeatable. In Season 2, we do get to see him, like, flex. Like, we get to see him go crazy on some sorcerers that aren't necessarily unbeatable fucking deities. And damn, he is strong. He is spitting and shitting on people. Season 2 is really like this avalanche of hype. It starts with just this absolute fucking snowball rolling down the hill of hype, adrenaline, incredible action, and it's all beautiful to watch, and it never stops. It just keeps gaining speed, gaining girth, gaining mass. It's just this fucking non-stop runaway train of beauty, and I loved every second of the ride. I don't want to get into anything spoilery here. I really do just want to sing its praises because I think what's been produced is something extremely special. Now, there are plenty of valid complaints like about what not to like about Jujutsu Kaisen when it comes to story and characters and whatever, but there is no real complaint that can be made that its action or its animation is anything less than top tier and some of the best the industry has ever seen. Full stop. If there's anyone saying otherwise, they're being contrarian for the sake of it or trying to get like engagement bait, because it is objectively, legitimately, objectively speaking, some of the most beautiful, most dynamic action that anime has right now. And it's kept up through the entire season. It's not just a couple tiddlywinks sprinkled throughout major episodes and major narrative moments. It's every episode, every fight has so much tender loving care put into every goddamn frame that it creates this beautiful piece. Every fight, every moment of a fight is amazing. And it's not just like a couple of big moves that are animated really well. They have so much hand-to-hand combat with like a dynamic moving camera that follows the action around, and it never really gets disorienting, except for a couple of moments during fights where things just go absolutely chaotic, like legitimately fucking bonkers. But other than that, it's all extremely easy to understand what's happening and so fun to watch. I really think Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is perhaps the best action shonen that can be made. Like, I don't know how you can do action in anime better than this season just did. Like, I feel like we've just now been spoiled for the rest of the humanity's existence on this fucking space rock with the best possible action anime we will ever see. Which is cool, you know, what a time to be alive, but damn, like, where do you go from here? I don't think it can be topped. I really don't. I can't recommend this show enough. I think even if you hate anime, if you hate animation, you will still probably find a lot of enjoyment watching the action here, because Jesus Christ, it is a spectacle. So yeah, I just wanted to make this. I know I didn't really get into the nitty-gritty on any of it because I just don't even need to. This season is very simple. Bad thing happens, very creative plan from the bad guys, goes exactly how they want it to mainly, and now it's a series of fights to try and overpower them, and you're just getting fight after fight after fight after fight after fight. I think every single episode in this season had a big fight in it, or was a continuation of a big fight that had happened in the episode before. And how can you not love that? How can you not love that? Yes, you can want more narratively, I get it, but Jesus Christ, this is still such a beautiful meal to be consumed here. I loved it. I think it is a must-watch. I'm a huge fan. Clearly, I'm sitting here, you know, going wild over it, like a kid on Christmas that just got that bike they've been wanting for so long. But, like, this is an anime wet dream of a production, and it is just still such a shame that MAPPA overworks and mistreats its employees. I need to mention that again because the talent behind this deserves to have their flowers here. Like, what they have done is unbelievable, and they should be rewarded for that. Not with, like, pain and misery while working at MAPPA and dreading every single day. I remember I read something on Twitter how during one of the major fights in the episode, they'd actually slid in the MAPPA headquarters building and it gets like blown to pieces or something. I don't know if that was just a meme or if that's true, but I do believe it because a lot of animators came forward to talk about their awful experience while working on this because of the way MAPPA oversees the project. And that fucking sucks because this, what they've made, is incredible and this talent deserves to be rewarded. So, amazing season, amazing show, amazing series. I'm trying so hard not to read the manga because I want to just experience it in its animated format. But man, it is tough to fight that urge. Anyway, highly recommend. That's about it. So yeah. The only thing more pathetic than an internet prankster is nothing. These degenerate worms whose entire existence revolves around making strangers' lives worse in public so that they can film it and post it online for content are actually the most embarrassing thing humanity has ever produced. And I've mentioned this before, but I actually think making fun of pranksters is an important public service to try and deter other youngsters from growing up to be this kind of failure of a person. So I just learned about a new prankster who's been at the game for over a year, and the only thing he has to show for it is a few arrests and a community of children that just shoot spitballs and make fun of him like a bad birthday party clown. So I'm not going to tell you his name. His name's not important. Don't go out of your way to find and harass him. Don't give him any kind of engagement off of it. I just think he is another great example of the brain rot that's really infested the youth these days here.
When I hop up this counter and break that camera, you're gonna be mad. So stop fucking recording me, yo.
Make my milkshake and chill out.
I'm not making nothing.
You're not making nothing?
I'm not making nothing.
Dude, you heard how she talked to me?
I swear that I'm not making nothing. Fuck out of here. All y'all.
Hey!
Inside? I'm not making nothing. You want to stand here? Stand here. We're not serving y'all. Fuck out of here. Here.
I'll go back there myself and make a damn milkshake, motherfucker.
Over here? I swear to God, I'll shit out of you.
Dude, get the hell out of here.
Get the fuck out of here, I said.
Dude.
Make me, Mr. Sir. Make me.
We gotta go. Let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Ah, yes, the classic prank. Harass customer service employees and be an insufferable asshole. So, this is how I found his content, and it turns out this is all he does. His entire existence is like this perpetual miasma of misery that haunts his community, where he and the after-school cringe club latch onto his ass to suckle a bit of clout out of it, get together, and just make complete strangers' days worse. And then he films it and proudly posts it online. And I do mean proud. This is his pride and joy. Every time he gets arrested, he wears it like a Boy Scout badge of honor. I legitimately couldn't imagine being his parents. The shame would be overwhelming. I would rather my child grow up to be a professional toilet seat kisser than grow up to be a prankster like this kid.
Here. I'll go back there myself and make a damn milkshake, motherfucker.
I swear to God.
A completely flat and hollow threat from this affluent douchebag who I have no doubt has never faced any real repercussions from his actions. and he has the world's worst laugh. His laugh sounds like Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy, just some real goofy shit. It's fucking ridiculous. He is like actually biologically engineered through evolution to be the perfect cringe loser. Now, you may have noticed a lot of cuts in this, and that's because, of course, they leave out the context that led to this escalation and exactly what happened here to get to this point. But the manager has spoke up about this situation afterwards. And I almost can't help but appreciate the delusion from the prankster and his friends to think that somehow they look tough here or look cool. Because in this situation, the manager is the biggest W by far. The manager stood his ground, handled everything really well, I thought, and wasn't afraid to like challenge them if this guy really did follow through on his threat to go back there. And if the goof troop really did jump over that counter and attack or do anything stupid like that, they would have 100% ended up on the fuck around and find out matrix, because it turns out the manager is an actual trained fighter. So there's no doubt in my mind he would have beat all their asses, steamed their ham thoroughly. In that video, he does also go over how rude they were being and how everything kept escalating because of them, which of course was cut out from his post about it. Now you're probably wondering how old the doofus committee here is from the pranksters, because the main guy has the face of a 13-year-old boy. But would you believe me if I told you that he's actually 19 years old? There's a video as well as an article going over one of his mini runs-in with authorities, and he says, "How are you my height? I'm 19. I mean, I almost feel bad for him being 19 years old and being stuck with the face of like a 12-year-old Xbox Live Call of Duty gamer. That's rough. Like, there's no doubt he probably feels insecure about that, and that might be why he's lashing out so much against his community around him and turned to the dark side, going down the prankster path, the public nuisance asshole road."
When you guys walk up on people that you guys know don't like you, that have chased you around before, someone's eventually gonna probably beat you guys up.
That's what we're aiming for.
Why?
Low key, just to get some content out of it.
Okay, so you're gonna be the victim of an assault for a content.
A super honest answer from a super big douchebag. They keep pushing people, harassing them until they snap, hoping that they'll either attack them or have some kind of big blow up that they can film and post online for content. Heavens to Betsy. What a turbo loser. Yikes. He's giggling and smiling while giving this answer to the officer. He is so delusional. He really thinks that this is his ticket to internet updates, that precious clout and attention online, when in reality, it's most likely just going to be his ticket to the hospital or jail.
What? What?
You guys all walk away.
We didn't even do nothing. Wow, bro. Yup.
Every time this asshole gets arrested, it's like the happiest moment of his life. It's like Christmas morning every single time he finds himself in a pair of handcuffs, because he's so delusional that he believes that that's going to help the content blow up or help him go viral, and it hasn't. It doesn't, and hopefully it never will. So he just keeps doing these extremely stupid stunts, calling them pranks, harassing just normal people in the world, eventually gets the cops called on him, and then him and his friends are like, "Oh, I can't believe it. What?"
What do you mean?
He's taking pictures.
Yo, who the hell is that?
Stop acting. Stop acting like that, please.
Yo, get that camera off me. Get the hell out of here.
It's okay.
Huh?
It's okay.
Get the hell on out of here.
Good one. This guy just loves treating workers as props for his videos. I still can't believe he's actually 19 years old. He looks like he still needs mommy and daddy to drive him to this Home Depot so he can film these pranks with his buddies. I will probably never understand who actually watches something like that and finds any enjoyment out of it. Even if I was 12 years old, I don't see myself even smiling at it. It's just annoying. As a viewer, and I feel real bad for anyone that is unfortunate enough to be subjected to one of his pranks. Like, I really don't think I'll ever understand why kids grow up wanting to do this, or why kids somehow even get moderately entertained by that.
Jersey.
Don't pet Jersey right now. We're just seeing that. You got me.
Yeah, I was thinking he smelled like shit.
What'd you say to my dog?
Yeah, I said I thought your dog smelled like shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here before I make you smell like shit.
Wait, it's a dog, sir.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Calm down.
All right, don't say my dog is this or that. Get the fuck out.
I was just saying the dogs smell like shit, sir.
Good one. Again. Man, Junior, you're really on a hot streak with these bangers. Your dog smells like shit prank. People can't even just relax on a bench outside with their pet without you going out of your way to bother them. Nothing is safe from your cringe apocalypse that you bring with you everywhere you go. Everything this guy and his friends have ever done that I can find is just actual trash. It's just bothering people in the world and calling it a prank. It sucks. It's just public nuisance degeneracy. And I'll always take a little bit of time to make fun of some pieces of shit like this because I think it is an invaluable service to provide. Nobody should end up like this guy or his team here. And they're not really a team. This guy I already know is insufferable to be around. The only reason his friends orbit him is because he has the tiniest bit of clout online and they try and suckle a little bit out of that from his bosom for themselves. That's the only reason they stomach him for however brief a time when they're filming these awful videos together. They're not real friends, it's just a bunch of fake people surrounding themselves with each other and convincing each other that making these pranks is somehow going to get them to the top. It's just fucking pathetic. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See ya. I look like a crazy person right now. I just got back from the gym because I needed to blow off some steam. Fair warning, I'm about to start screaming and spitting. This is probably the most emotion you will ever see from me. I'm about to get animated like a Pixar character, red in the face with steam coming out of my ears, because I am infuriated. I am livid. I've made a couple videos bringing you up to speed on a situation I've been dealing with US immigration. In a nutshell, our esports team, Moist Esports, has one of the best Apex rosters in the world right now. We're second place in NA, and we're in a really good position to win the major. But the major is happening on US soil, and the red-blooded patriots at US immigration refuse to let our team come in. Our team is Australian. So we were initially declined and had to pivot, get them to Canada so they could compete in NA this split. And we resubmitted, and our resubmission has just been declined again for legitimately no real reason because the fucking glue-eating, crack-smoking, coke-snorting, lobotomite morons at US immigration just don't want them in the country for whatever reason they're drumming up here. We have been working with the best lawyers in the industry, the best lawyers on this fucking planet that specialize in this field, and none of them can believe that we've been declined again. They've never had these issues before, so they're as stunned as we are. We even have one of the highest level executives at EA going to bat for us with US immigration, lobbying for us to try and get our team in here because our team is very important to the esport because we are so highly ranked. And even with the goddamn Avengers on our side, US immigration slams the door in our face and turns us away like it's a lacrosse house party in college. They're Australian gamers. We're not trying to sneak in fucking Viltrumite aliens. What is the issue? Gadzooks, I would hate to meet our US immigration agent in real life. It'd be like meeting Voldemort. It'd be like meeting Scrooge. Like an absolute joyless fucking husk of a zombie. It can't even be a real soul. There's no way there's a human being that's handling our case. It's not possible. Because there is no reason we would keep being declined. They're not even giving us reasons that make any sense at all. Not to us, not to the lawyers, not to anybody. Nobody. And no other esports team has had this problem. Every other org that has international players got in lickety-split. They fucking speedran it. Meanwhile, we can't. We literally can't. I'm convinced that if Jesus Christ resurrected right now, US immigration would turn him away. He wouldn't be allowed in here. We'd never see him. Now let me slow down real quick because maybe you guys aren't understanding why this is such a big deal. Our team is one of the best in the world. And this major is huge. It's massive. And obviously, we're very passionate about this game and this esport. So they need to get into the country to play in this major because it's an in-person LAN. They can't compete from Canada. It's happening in America, the home of the fucking cheeseburger and the Budweiser. It's happening here. So they need to be here physically to compete in it. No holograms, no force ghosts, no AI, duplicate, replicants, nothing. It's got to be them, flesh and blood, which is off the table now. I think a lot of people had a bit of confusion with the last video I made about this because the Apex boys, our team, has been in America before. We've even made videos together with them at our warehouse. But there's a difference because they were only here for like 2 weeks. I think it was even less than 2 weeks. And then the major was overseas. So they weren't here for a long time. This time around, we needed a different process because they were going to play the whole split in NA. So it needed to go through an entirely different procedure to allow them to stay here for that period. And since we keep getting declined, they are now no longer allowed to just come here temporarily. All of that's halted because they're under our Moist Esports blanket. Now they can't come here just for like that 2 weeks or anything. It's totally different. It's all changed, which is why we had to work with so many lawyers to try and get this process moving, and we just kept getting declined. So now they can't come into the country for this major. They couldn't even show up on the day to compete. Plus, they wouldn't want to do that anyway because they want time to practice, obviously. So that leaves us with only one fucking option left, and that's to cut our team. We have to release one of the best teams in the entire Apex circuit, because that's the only way they're going to be allowed in the country. They can come here as long as they're not being represented by us. As long as they are not represented by any org right now, they can come here and compete. So that's our only option, because we obviously want the best for these guys. We want them to shine at the major. So in order to do that, we have to let them go. It's like that fucking scene in Pokemon when Ash sets down the Pikachu and runs away crying. That's us! That is literally what we have to do with our team right now. We have to cut them so that way they can compete at the major. Because we're out of time. We can't resubmit again because this process is abominably fucking slow. Weeks just to get 2 sentences back from the U.S. immigration dinosaurs, the fucking fossils that are just bones and dust in those chairs at the agency there. Like, we can't do this again because we don't have time. The major's right around the corner. So, we are officially releasing the Moist Apex squad. Unfortunately, we got the bad ending to this fucking playthrough here. And it's no fault of our own, by the way. We did everything by the books. We worked with other orgs, too, and so many different lawyers that specialize in this. And we did everything right. And still got slapped by U.S. immigration raid bosses. Ridiculous. So, I actually cooked up a theory. One that a couple of lawyers actually agreed with me on as the most likely culprit for why we kept getting declined and are still currently rejected. Our name. I hypothesized this in the last video I made, but I wasn't entirely subscribing to that belief until now. The name Moist Esports may have had a role in us being rejected. May be the only reason we were rejected. At U.S. immigration, it all falls onto your particular agent. It is entirely their discretion whether or not you are allowed entry into the country with whatever you're submitting and whatever you're doing. You have an individual agent that handles your case. It is highly possible, and according to some lawyers, not unusual, for them to decline things based on very trivial reasoning. And they never conveyed that the name was an issue to us, by the way. That would be something that's so petty that they probably would never put it in writing because it's fucking embarrassing and shameful. But it is possible that the name Moist is the reason why. Because moist is a word that is a little yucky to people, makes them feel a little icky. So whoever was handling our case maybe just really didn't like that word, didn't take us seriously, and said, nope, we won't be dealing with them. Fuck them. And I think that's the most likely possible explanation for this at the moment. Because there's nothing else. There is actually nothing else that could have possibly gone awry in this process on our end. I hope the ghoulish heathen in charge of our case is proud of themselves for this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just yanking your chain. The only thing I hope for the urinal cake that handled this case is that they get fired. That is the only solace I will find here, is if I learn that at some point whoever took this case is let go from U.S. immigration because the country would be much better for it. I think they are so bad at their job that it borders on being criminal. Like, they should be charged with treason for how poorly they've handled this case. 6 months. 6 months of work. Well, a little less than 6 months. And never once did they give us a real reason for why we were declined. The reasons they gave us were nonsensical. And when we were inquired for more information to rectify those problems, we submitted above and beyond the requirements, and still got declined numerous times. I think this whole experience should be pretty eye-opening to a lot of people out there, to the blatant corruption in U.S. immigration. Like, this is so bad that it's almost comical. Like, if it wasn't so incredibly detrimental to our organization, I would probably find it laughable. Like, that's how awful, horrible it is, and how bad of a state U.S. immigration is in. Like, just take a step back and really analyze this. The best lawyers in the world that specialize in this field in particular were unsuccessful in getting squeaky clean Australian gamers into the country, even when the game they're competing in has the highest level executives saying to U.S. immigration, no, they need to be here, they should be here. All of these extremely powerful parts working together to try and get them into the country, and they couldn't do it multiple times. Now imagine that for someone normal. Just normal, average Joes trying to get into the country and they have to deal with U.S. immigration. What fucking hope is there? What chance do you have? That's going to be like a 20-year process bare minimum. That's inexcusably awful. What a broken fucking machine. The ice cream machines at McDonald's work better than the U.S. immigration process. It's so fucking stupid. I'm actually hitting a full-blown Porky Pig Scatman right now. I'm getting so heated. Like, it's an insult to the word stupid. Moonfall, Madam Web, The Room, that's stupid. This, it's on a whole new level. It's in a different dimension, the fucking sixth dimension of stupidity. It's a whole new ballgame. Like the fucking poop farter that handled our case. It's giving me a headache. I'm actually going caveman Braden. I'm becoming Cro-Magnon man right now. Just called him a fart pooper or whatever. Like, I'm running out of words in the English language to express the frustration at how incompetent this whole process has been on their end. So yeah, anyway, we had to release our Apex team. They will still be competing at the major, God willing, unless the immigration agent himself turns up and fucking puts the kibosh on it himself, forms like a brick wall of meat and won't let them pass, physically imposing himself on them. But anything shy of that, the boys will be on American soil competing at the major, but they are no longer our team. We had to cut them in order for that to happen. We will, of course, still be cheering for them. We, of course, still want them to win because they deserve it. I think they are the best team in Apex, and I'm still very excited to watch them play, but it really fucking hurts that it's not Moist Esports that they're competing under anymore. Thanks, U.S. immigration. Fuck you. Yep, that's really about it. See ya. We are only 2 days into the 2018 season of YouTube drama, and we have already gotten off to a big fucking bang. The writers this season have dialed it up a notch and are making the villains even badder. So it seems the main antagonist this season will be this douche noodle wearing the alien hat. His name's Logan Paul. He has thinning blonde hair, so his days in the spotlight are numbered. Once those teenage girls see him bald, they won't come back. And trust me, Logan, those days are indeed coming fast for you, judging by that wispy hair that's getting worse by the vlog. Pretty soon your head's gonna be looking like an 8-year-old boy's nutsack. Now let's move on to the plot summary. So Logan Paul's filming his fucking abysmal vlogs, and he goes to the legendary suicide forest. No, he didn't go there to kill himself, but he did go there to kill his career. He fucking crashed and burned his career with no handlebars. So he finds a dead body, a man hung himself on a tree, and Logan Paul responds by making jokes and getting a real hoot and a holler about this man's suicide, just laughing it up, having big old belly giggles, and it's just absolutely disgusting stuff. I found this video that shows how he responded to it. It doesn't show the dead body because that's just disrespectful, but Logan Paul knows nothing of disrespect, so in his video the body is front and center and the focal point of the entire video, and basically his punching bag for horrible jokes.
I really hate to say this. I think there's someone hanging right there. Excuse me? And but this is the thing. There's a thing that is now in our lives we just experienced.
How our lives unfold. There's no going back. I've seen things I can't unsee.
We found a dead body.
Yup! What the fuck? I gotta say, this is top 5 craziest things I've ever experienced in my life.
It goes on, but I think you get the gist of how this heartless Cro-Magnon responded to a man's suicide. And naturally, people that aren't sociopaths didn't respond positively to this video. They were saying they can't even imagine how anyone could have responded worse. But to be honest with all of you, I genuinely think this is the best Logan Paul can do. He's such a massive piece of shit. I think this is about as respectful as he could possibly ever be. And this is with cameras on. I wonder how he actually felt cameras off. Really, I'm just more surprised than anything that he didn't go over and start taking selfies with the hanging body and start plugging his merch by taking the dude's clothes off and putting his merch on him. I'm also looking forward to Logan's next vlog where he goes to this man's funeral and starts cracking some good humdingers in front of their family for the vlog. Now this video got a lot of negative attention, so he took it down and released this apology right here. I don't need to read all of it to you, but I do like how he takes some time to brag about the views he gets, because obviously that's very important when issuing an apology. But I love this part. I did it because I thought I could make a positive ripple on the internet, not cause a monsoon of negativity. How fucking delusional are you, Logan? How in any possible light could this be construed as positive? You literally made fun of a man's suicide for 10 minutes. I don't understand how that could be positive. How does that teach anyone anything? What is the lesson here? Don't kill yourself because Logan Paul might find your body and make fun of you for it? Just truly despicable. This is less of an apology and more of just some high school micro dick in the football locker room bragging. It's just a horrible apology. It's not even an apology. It's just, man, you know, sometimes I forget how incredibly popular I am, and I often just don't think of how these peasants will interpret some of my incredible content. And I'm sorry for being incredibly popular and you misunderstanding. I'm sorry. I'm still super popular. Logang for life, baby. And also, please don't forget to check out my shop for merch. Now, earlier I said he killed his career with this. Obviously, I was just kidding around because I don't think any rational person truly thinks he's going to be hurt by this incident. Not at all. Just look at his new videos. They're still doing just fine, even with likes and dislikes. But I think it's important all of you out there realize disliking a video doesn't hurt someone like Logan. All that matters to Logan is views, and you click on his video to dislike it, you're giving him a view. It's like me leaving a Facebook review on Waffle House because some lady pee-peed in my waffle and I was upset. Well, I still bought a waffle, and that's kind of what matters to Waffle House. And even bigger than that is fan base is predominantly children. Children don't give a shit. They're not going to hate Logan Paul ever. Logan Paul would actually have to go to each child's house and take a shit in their cereal box for them to even feel that Logan Paul isn't a god. And even then, I'm 100% sure the majority of them will just think, damn, Logan Paul's a savage. Can't wait to watch the next one. A kid's parents could divorce because of Logan Paul, and the kid would still love Logan Paul. The only way kids will stop watching someone like Logan Paul is if he gets thrown in jail or for some reason can't make things anymore. That's the only way you get rid of a fan base of predominantly children. Children are always going to watch unless they literally cannot because they're not making anything. This whole situation is probably the most deplorable thing I've seen from the YouTube community. It is so incredibly disrespectful and just downright evil more than anything. Logan Paul goes into a suicide forest for what other reason than looking for a dead body for his video, and he put it as the thumbnail of his video. I think that speaks volumes to what his intentions were here. He wanted this because he knew it would be big news. I don't know if he expected the kind of backlash it's gotten or not, but I'm sure he doesn't really mind either way because his name is now all over the place. It's sick. It's just absolutely sick. He's an absolutely soulless man. I genuinely don't think he's capable of feeling anything except for douchebaggery. He is a being of pure douche. He is douche incarnate. If douchebags could take on a physical form, they would take on the form of Logan, ideally with more hair because he's starting to fade, but I think they'd go for this image. He's truly awful, an awful person. And oftentimes when you hear people getting upset at YouTubers, it's over some petty things, you know, this YouTuber doesn't like that YouTuber, so I hate that YouTuber. But this is genuinely something where people should take a step back and be like, you know what? This really is a really bad guy. Maybe I shouldn't let my kid be watching someone like this as a role model. Maybe I shouldn't be watching someone like this if this is what they're about. Absolutely not. It's fucking disgusting. And this whole situation is nothing shy of sick. And fuck you, Logan Paul. And also to Logang, you all smell bad, you like school, and you're not lit. Fucking savaged on kids. But yeah, really, eat shit, Logan Paul. See ya. Another day, another Kick degenerate streaming themselves committing crimes. I swear, there's more crime on Kick than there ever was in Gotham. And today's Kick crime comes from a familiar face that only a mother could love, and I guess OnlyFans girls that are using him for his money, Neon. He recently got released from jail to everyone's dismay, and he is already back on the grind producing content for the weirdos that no one really likes. Yesterday, he came up with a banger idea for his content where he actually linked up with a criminal who is somehow a bigger loser than Neon, if you can believe that. His name is Squeeze, and he's considered the most dangerous driver in New York. He rents supercars and then films himself driving recklessly on public roads, endangering the lives of all the innocent people around him so he can attempt to goad the police into chasing him so that he can flee. Jiminy Christmas, how cool is that? This clout-obsessed turbo douchebag is somehow more lame than Neon, which I didn't think was possible. I didn't know a specimen like that could exist in this realm. So the two of them together That was a match made in heaven. If they weren't streaming, they probably would have been fucking each other. Two ultimate losers coming together to commit crimes. So they streamed on Kick, of course, driving recklessly, and then it ends up with them in a hit and run.
Okay, alright, we're good, we're good. Calm. Oh my god! Oh my fuck! Oh, what the fuck? Oh shit! What the fuck?
Oh shit! Everything's good.
Oh
Shit. Oh, everything is 100% good.
Drop me off.
We're good.
Neon begs to be let out of the car, and his wish was granted. They let him out, and then he starts running away, saying that he needs to get inside and off the street. He starts treating it like he's trying to lose stars in Grand Theft Auto here. So he is clearly freaked out by all of this. He also just got out of jail, and now he could be looking at some more problems. Now, granted, he wasn't the one driving, so I don't think he'd face any serious repercussions, though I imagine maybe they could come after him for setting this up, because this was clearly the idea behind the stream, is get together with the most dangerous driver and do some dangerous driving for Neon's stream to entertain his audience. So it'd be like premeditated crimes, pretty much, for the sake of Kick streams. Now, Neon has been banned for this, and I know it's not going to be permanent, because nothing on Kick ever is. They are a platform that is impossible to take seriously, because it is pretty much used by a lot of people as a place to just broadcast actual illegal activity, and Kick still does really nothing about it, except give them a 72-hour ban at most. Which always makes me laugh, because a lot of Kick streamers, as well as Kick themselves, would talk about how Twitch is so inconsistent with their rules, which they are, don't get me wrong. So like a girl spreading her butthole live on camera, or even having full-blown sex on cam on Twitch only resulted in a 3-day ban. Meanwhile, Kick still does the same kind of shit for similar content like that, as well as actual crimes that are being broadcast there. They are still guilty of doing exactly the same shit of terrible enforcement of their rules. And it blows my mind that they don't see that. Like, for some reason, it's different when Kick only gives a 72-hour ban for someone having sex on stream, or not even ban them for having sex on stream most of the time. And also only gives like a 72-hour ban for fucking criminal activity. It's laughable. But anyway, after the hit and run and the adrenaline started to wear off, Neon did a bit of reflecting in a very somber mood about how everything went awry.
I was there to do a Q&A, sit in his car. We agreed and handshaked only 10 over the speed limit, and this retard just went crazy, and I can't do shit. I'm sitting in the car. What the fuck am I supposed to do, bro? I can't just jump out when it's going 100 miles per hour, bro. So, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is, bro. Don't tell me to shut up, bro. Don't tell me to shut up, bro.
Shut up. I like how even his own chat is bullying him here. Like I've always said, if he wasn't a streamer, he would probably be a professional swirly victim. Like, his face would know the inside of a toilet bowl better than anyone else on the planet. This guy is so unlikable and insufferable. So he's trying to say that this whole thing was just supposed to be a Q&A where he sits in his car and Squeeze only goes 10 over the speed limit. I highly doubt that's what was agreed upon. Squeeze is addicted to attention, so he has done an interview before, and even in that interview, he does something similar to what he did with Neon here. Granted, to a lesser degree with the other interviewer, because obviously the other guy is taken more seriously than someone as pathetic as Neon, but still, there's no way Neon went into this not expecting to get into high-speed, illegal shenanigans. That must have been the entire point of doing this. Why would you just interview him again after he was just interviewed by somebody else? Like, it wouldn't make any sense, and Neon is not an interviewer. He's not an anything. Neon is the human nothing burger. So the only thing that he could have possibly concocted here for his stream is to excite them with Squeeze driving recklessly as Neon screams like a bitch in the passenger seat. That had to be the entire purpose behind it, not some kind of fucking Q&A with Neon at the helm. That sounds like the biggest snooze fest of all time, and he knows that. He knows that he is uninteresting. So he would have absolutely said to Squeeze, let's just go on one of your stupid joyrides for the stream. That's what I think, and this is Neon trying to cover his own ass since he was literally involved in a hit and run. So he was probably afraid of some repercussions from this, especially since it was streamed on his channel, and it seems like he organized this whole event here. I highly doubt it was ever just supposed to be a very calm Q&A with the most dangerous driver in New York. Neon sucks. Like, he would not broadcast him doing some kind of Q&A format. That is so boring. I would rather listen to a 2-hour audiobook lecture on the Krebs cycle than ever listen to Neon interview someone. And I know his fans feel the same way. Like, his view bots, they don't really care. They're gonna be there regardless because Neon's paying for them. But the ones that actually watch him are like the perpetual jingling keys addicted children. And they are not gonna just watch a dumb Q&A with Neon. So he would have absolutely said, just go crazy and I'll stream it. That's what I think.
Squeeze! Squeeze! Please! Please, 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 bro! Please, bro! Squeeze! Enough! 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 Come on, bro! Please, dude! Please, dude! Please, dude, no. The cop's right there, the cop's right there! Oh my god, he almost crashed! Chill, stop, you're tripping, squeeze, that's a cop, squeeze, that's a cop, you're tripping.
Even before the hit and run, this just seems unwatchable. Who wants to listen to him peek the mic through squealing the entire time? Plus, I just find this entire activity of driving recklessly on the interstate super fucking cringe. I can always appreciate talented driving, but that's not this. This trend of douchebags just driving extremely fast on the interstate and weaving between cars cutting up is not impressive. Like, I don't think there's anything impressive about that at all. My fucking grandmother used to do that when I was a kid, and I hated it then too. She used to cruise around on the interstate taking me to Perkins in her 1978 Chevrolet ass tutor or whatever, and she'd do this, and there was nothing cool about it. My grandmother used to do this, and it wasn't cool then either, but now all of a sudden there's a lot of people that think it is, I guess, because it's becoming somewhat popular. It shit sucks. All you're doing is putting your life and everyone else's life at risk for nothing, literally nothing. I did do a bit of a deep dive on Squeeze in particular though. He does seem to be a pretty talented driver, especially when it comes to drifting. But all he uses it for is this, illegal criminal shit, and putting people's lives on the line for nothing. Why not actually do something cool with that ability? Why use it for this garbage? It's fucking frustrating, it's infuriating. And the best case scenario is, when Squeeze inevitably does crash doing some of this content, he doesn't take anyone else with him. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Another classic kick crime. That's it. So yeah. Today I had an itch that needed to be scratched, so I cannonballed into the pool of male astrology just to take a peek at what's been going on in the Sigma scene, as well as the alpha male YouTubers, and of course catching up with the omega male gurus who give some wild and wacky advice, just because it's been so long since I've tuned into the genre on YouTube. Recently I've felt that the Sigma grind set's begun to fizzle out a little bit, and I was hoping to reignite that fire inside of the hearts of all Sigma males that might be watching. So I wanted to share one video with you that I found. It's called 10 Odd Things Sigma Males Do That Turn Women On. Now before starting it, I will say I was a bit disappointed to see that they omitted one of the most important qualities of a Sigma male, and that's how they handle one-night stands. I've seen this from a couple other channels, and I just would like to put this here in the beginning before getting into the 10 things, because I think it's a really important one. So a Sigma male's not afraid to be upfront. We know that. So when it comes to a one-night stand, I think the optimal way Sigma males handle it is they always finish it off respectfully. They don't want to leave things on bad terms. So this is just a little free advice to all the Sigma males out there. When you're done with a one-night stand and you know it's not going to be something that's like a long-term partnership, make sure that you're nice, understanding, but direct about it. So get up, give her a bow, and say, "Thanks, madam, for the good pussy. 'Twas doth sodden in those quarters, but I must be off now. Crime never sleeps. Pray thee good day," and then collect your monocle and tobacco pipe and skedaddle. It leaves things on good terms, and you now have broken things off in a much more palatable way.
Women are turned on by different things than men. The Sigma male is the type of guy who knows what these differences are and how to exploit them.
It's fascinating to me how 100% of the time these YouTubers always present their ideas in the creepiest manner possible, calling it an exploit here, making it sound like it's some kind of cheat code or a forbidden jutsu you'll get in trouble for using. It just comes across really weird, saying things like, the Sigma male knows these differences and knows how to exploit it. It just makes it sound almost criminal. The Sigma male is very familiar with females and the law. So you want to get laid without going to prison for sexual assault? Well, there's a fine line between sexual assault and getting laid, and the Sigma male tap dances on it. Find out how in this video.
The Sigma male is the type of man women are naturally attracted to. He has an innate understanding of how to appeal to female biology, knowing which buttons to push, and when.
Another thing I always find interesting, and this is across like all alpha male and sigma male YouTubers, is I can never tell if it's text-to-speech voices they use, or if it's actually them narrating, because their cadence is so robotic, and I'm just never positive. Like for this one in particular, I feel like it's text-to-speech, but then there's certain moments where it kind of messes up and bumbles a word around, and then I'm like, no, it's probably a person.
1. Their light touches. When a Sigma male is sitting next to a woman, he'll reach out and gently rest his hand on top of hers. Or he might come up behind her and lay his hands on her hips or shoulders, just for a couple of seconds before pulling away again. A woman loves it when he takes the initiative like this, without always waiting to be invited.
Yeah, so step 1 here is immediately playing with fire, because if you do this on a total stranger, you might just go straight to jail. Do not pass go and collect $200. This shit's just getting you right in the slammer. It feels like something that is only acceptable if it's done with a girl that you're already romantically involved with, or are at least familiar with enough to the point where coming up behind them and putting your hands on her hips doesn't immediately get you slapped and spit on. If this is a stranger, you might just get your ass beat, and you might get the cops called on you. So I'm assuming this advice here, where don't wait to be invited, is when it's like your partner. Like, hey, maybe rest your hand on her hand when you guys are out on a date, as opposed to just like, hey, if you're in class next to a girl, just rest your hand on her hand as a Sigma move. I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the creator here, because they don't actually specify if it's like, this is an icebreaker type thing that you use on women that you're interested in, or something that you do to continue to keep a woman that you're already with interested in you.
2. They know how to command attention. A Sigma man doesn't care if anyone notices him or not, as long as he has the upper hand in any given social situation. When he enters a room, she can't help but notice him because of the way other people react when he's around.
Now, as is the case with every Alpha, Sigma, Omega, Giga Chad advice YouTube channel, most of it's just platitudes, utterly meaningless, and can be applied to pretty much everyone and everything ever. And this is one of those things. If you're good at getting people's attention and not being weird, it's a good thing for you. And women like that. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
3. Their specific sense of humor. Everyone has a different sense of what's funny, and Sigma males seem to possess a unique kind of humor that nobody else can get.
To be fair, you do have to have a high IQ to understand Sigma male humor, so this is again another one of those points where it's like, yep, that sounds about right. Sigma males are known for their gut-busting comedy, and women do appreciate a good ha-ha-ha moment, some good goofs and laughs.
4. They exude an air of mystery. There's something about the way they carry themselves that makes women want to find out what it is. This makes her feel like she doesn't have all the information, which is psychologically arousing.
This is always my favorite advice, because this is what I bought into going into college, that women love a mystery, which is why I took on the role of an anime protagonist who's very mysterious. You know what it got me? Not laid. It almost got me just fucking excommunicated from my goddamn university because everyone was so fucking afraid of me because I was such a weirdo. Sure, there's something to be said about someone that's not like overly outgoing with everything that's happened in their life. Yeah, absolutely. Keeping some things to yourself, being a little more reserved is probably pretty helpful. But the way that they set it up here where it's like a mystery is great. It's psychologically arousing to not have all the information. I will just debunk that immediately. You should give some information. For sure. Don't just go like catatonic and smoke a cigarette in the background hoping that someone finds that cool or hot, because they probably won't. They just find it creepy.
They come off as really intense. When he talks to her, it seems like he's judging every little thing she says, and that can be really intimidating. Sigma males don't think twice about challenging a woman, which can be a huge turn-on for some women.
This one straight up just doesn't seem like a good thing at all. To have women find you scary and intimidating and too intense. That just seems like it's a massive detriment to getting laid as a Sigma male. And then the part about a Sigma male not being afraid to challenge a woman, that almost just sounds almost threatening. Like, hey, At any moment, you say something that's a little out of line, the Sigma male is going to call you out on it. It's like, ugh, you winch, you've gone a bit too far, and you misquoted the great George Lucas. He never said that about Star Wars, and I'm putting you in your place. And you should be turned on by this. It's like, I don't know if that's necessarily a great quality to be so willing to challenge everything and come off as really intense.
They are unpredictable. A woman loves to be surprised. If she can see something coming from a mile away, there's no excitement left in it for her. He keeps himself just a little bit apart from society, and that makes it impossible for her to guess what he will do next.
I don't really see what being an outcast from society has to do with being unpredictable, unless he's isolated from society in like a mental asylum or something. Like, I don't really understand how those two correlate. You can be unpredictable while also participating in society, right? You can come up with surprises like, hey, surprise, I found chocolates in the dumpster outside. I bet you didn't see this coming. Or, you know, come in with a birthday cake. Hey, I know it's not your birthday, but hey, I definitely subverted your expectations with this maneuver, didn't I? You don't have to be like, you know, outside of the outskirts of society to be unpredictable. And yeah, there is something to be said about surprises and being spontaneous. That could be a good thing for sure. Not just for Sigma males, but for people in general.
They have a really strong presence. Some men are just more dominating, and women respect him because of this. They're active listening. A few women are really turned on by men who just tune out during a conversation, but most of them can't stand it. They want to be heard, and they love it when he shows an interest in everything she has to say.
Again, most of this video is just platitudes that everyone's heard a million times before. It's not specific to Sigma males. It's just everything here is Sigma male slapped on top of the most generic advice ever from WikiHow and peddled out there as Sigma advice, or these are weird, wacky things Sigmas do that no one else does, when this is just like the most basic shit ever. Oh, be a good listener. Oh, have your own identity with a strong presence and not try and stand out from the crowd with being like overly, you know, showy or whatever. Like, it's all just general advice that everyone's always heard forever. But ever since this whole Sigma versus Alpha versus Beta versus Omega war started, all of this most basic shit gets labeled as Sigma and Alpha and all of that. Like, I guarantee I could find this exact video with the word Alpha on top of it, and it'd be indistinguishable.
Their self-sufficiency. He doesn't need anybody in his life. He has his own place, makes his money, and lives on his own terms. They are chivalrous. He opens the door for her, pulls out her chair at dinner, and walks next to the curb when they are walking down the street.
Yeah, I bet you didn't see those last two coming. Straight off of an Ask Reddit thread, basically. Oh, they're self-sufficient and can make their own money. And they're chivalrous. Who could have guessed? How odd is that? I don't really understand who the audience is for these videos. I'm guessing it's already people that identify themselves as a Sigma male, and they just want to, like, confirm that they check all of the boxes on these 10 lists, like these top 10 lists. Because I can't imagine anything else. Like, even just scrolling into the comments or reading the discussions on Twitter, it's always people like, yeah, I am a Sigma male and all of this is accurate, but unfortunately women in today's society just don't appreciate a 6-digit IQ like mine, so unfortunately Sigmas like me aren't getting as much pussy as Alphas, though we should be, and we have every right to, because we're significantly better than them. Like, just look at these lists. A Sigma male is just the clear winner when it comes to males, and it's just a little upsetting that women haven't quite caught up to us yet to appreciate it. It just makes no sense to me, because all of these lists and all of these things from these Sigma male YouTubers and shit are just platitudes, meaningless cliches. Like, none of it has any substance or weight to it or anything unique about it. It is literally astrology, looking at a horoscope, but for lonely guys. Like, it's just a bit silly. And I do feel bad for them because there's so many videos like this and so many, like, YouTubers that talk about Sigma versus Alpha and all of that. And it just really muddies the waters and makes people that are really, like, struggling with self-esteem or their self-image get confused and get a bit lost in it. So yeah, it's just I wanted to check in on the community over here and see what's going on. And it's still the same stuff, just boring top 10 things Sigmas do when they're single or whatever and all of that. And some really bad advice from other channels that isn't like entertainingly bad advice, it's just sad advice. and they're selling courses to people that are already desperate enough to buy them, just exploiting it. So basically it's in the exact same spot that it was 2 years ago when I was actively watching this shit for entertainment. It's just now getting a bit stale and a bit sad. Today just felt like a day I needed to at least check in with it. So yeah, that's about it. See ya. When it comes to teaching, there are so many different methods because everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different preference on how they'd like to be taught and what's most effective for them. Over the years, I've come to find that I am more of a physical learner, meaning I need to be boots on the ground, getting dirty, hands-on, grabbing the horny bull, while sensei is giving me the lesson. I need to be physically doing it in order to lock it to memory and truly learn it. If I'm just told something, or if I'm given a set of instructions like a written tutorial, I end up more lost than Terrence Howard in a 3rd grade math course. But there's always been one school of thought when it comes to teaching that I've always found to be fascinating in like the worst possible way. And it's using pain as a teacher. So basically hurting someone or something that's not doing what you are wanting it to do. It's what circuses became known for with their animal acts, where they'd basically just torture animals until they did exactly what they wanted them to do. Just evil shit. But it did pique my curiosity up here, wondering, could I become a better Magic the Gathering player if I had the fucking Ringling brothers zapping me every time I made a misplay? So we took this idea and extended it to our whole team at Skill Check. We have been doing a lot of Magic the Gathering content, and Magic the Gathering is an extremely complicated card game, so we've been making a lot of misplays that the comments are very quick to point out and spit on us for. It's all in good fun, like it's never seeming like aggressive or anything, but it was getting under our skin that we kept fucking up and making misplays. So we decided to get some shock collars and try a little electroshock therapy to see if we could become perfect Magic players. So we just posted the full Shock Collar Commander game on the Skill Check channel. I'll put a link to that in the description. Go watch it. It's a fucking banger. But I want to show you some highlights here. I don't know how many of you have ever tried a Shock Collar, but it actually hurts a lot. We weren't even on like max setting. We weren't even close to max setting. And it felt like it was singeing my flesh. Like actually just burning me to the very core. Like it didn't feel like a shock. It felt like concentrated fire going through my body. It was rough. So it was definitely high stakes where none of us wanted to be making mistakes because none of us wanted to be shocked. So I've got Ifara, God of the Polis.
Okay.
The way you reacted to that is concerning to me.
What does it do?
It means I'm immune to electricity, I think. It's indestructible as long as your devotion to white and blue is less than 7. Ifara isn't a creature. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you had another creature into the battlefield under your control last turn, draw a card. We were playing decks that Ryan made a decade ago, so these were decks none of us had seen before. I had no clue what the fuck this card was, but using my massive brain here and all of my neurons, my very wrinkly cortex, I was able to fucking nail this deck, I'll tell you right now. I piloted it like I was an ace in the sky. Like I was like a fucking Gundam pilot here. Absolutely wrecking ass. Alright.
Are we good to go?
Yep.
I didn't see
I
what
was,
it was.
I was practicing.
Just before we go, I think it's
Ah.
only fair if I judge rules when we go to the next action. Almost like chess,
next
when
phase?
you take your hand off the piece.
Mhm.
That is when I will
Yeah,
decide.
that's chess rules.
Yeah.
You look so scared.
Yep.
Oh,
it was a
you got
test. It was a test.
That should have been an instant shock.
No, it was a test because that was upkeep. Obviously, you can't do things like that.
Right.
Upkeep.
No, that was a joke.
Well, untap.
Yep. Untap. Upkeep. Draw.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing Magic the Gathering, guys. We're in it. We've arrived.
Island comes down.
I didn't realize we could distract the ref so he doesn't see it.
I actually couldn't have fucked up any quicker if I tried. So typically when we're playing Magic just casually, we don't even bother with like untap, upkeep on turn 1 or anything because there's just nothing you can do besides just draw. So sometimes we'll just slap down land, then draw, and then pass. Like nothing crazy. So I just autopiloted that. But the proper sequence of events is you're supposed to do the phases still. So untap, upkeep, draw, which I didn't do. I just slapped it down, but luckily Ryan didn't see it and showed a little mercy, so I didn't catch an instant shock on fucking frame 1 here.
Whoa!
Yes, which is an enchantment. It's a little class spell, so I'll pay these down the line at sorcery speed. to level it up, and I'll pass.
At sorcery speed, good nomenclature.
Yeah.
All the neurons are firing.
All two.
Both of them.
They're playing badminton. Yeah.
This is great. I still have not a single playable card yet. And now I don't have a land, which means when on my end step, I'm going to have to discard down to proper hand size.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it looks like, is there anything I can play?
What we're learning is we're capable of playing good Magic. Well, we have done nothing.
We're capable of not breaking a
we
rule.
are capable of untapping before drawing.
Gentlemen, I
with 3
propose
lands.
an arrangement. All 3 losers get a 20 shock.
Oh, yikes.
Jesus. So winning needs to be
paramount importance.
Yes.
I'm moving.
You have to try to win.
I'm moving the instep. I'm discarding Mastery
right.
of the Unseen.
You can use one of his abilities this turn, right?
You know, that's what I was thinking in my head about whether or not I could.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't lie to you to hurt you.
Okay, let's get this party started. I am going to not do that and pass.
Sounds good.
You actually can though. For what it's
You
worth.
can.
Yeah.
Like if your player takes combat damage, we'll go shock.
I still don't have a single playable card because of no white mana. I've missed 2 land drops. I have to move the instep, discarding down to hand size, discarding first response.
All right.
When you cut my deck, you took all of the planes out of it. I
did.
Charlie's got like a full hand of.
I will say, they are in there. They do exist.
All our mana that we tap for is now double.
Double mana.
So have fun with that math.
Sick.
Good.
Sick.
And I think I pass with that.
If a player incorrectly explains a card, does he get shocked?
Incorrectly explains a card?
Did I? Whenever a player taps a land for mana, adds 1 mana of any type.
That's the land can.
Their 5th lands will not tap for 4. They'll only tap for 3. They do not double. It adds 1 more.
Oh yeah, it doesn't double.
The first shock. Oh, wow. You passed, right?
Yeah, I passed.
All right, untap.
Sorry, it had to be you.
No, it's okay.
And the ice is broken.
I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna have a floating mana. And I'm
You
going-
actually have more mana.
Yep. You got your mana calculations wrong there, bud.
I should have been shocked.
Okay.
That's worse than I remember.
I went like the first 7 turns of this game unable to even play it, which means I couldn't make misplays. Galaxy brain. If I can't play the game, I can't fuck up playing the game. But it became a huge nuisance, because I was just sitting there thumbing my ass doing nothing, like just diddling my cock while everyone else gets to play Magic. Now, the first shock was received by Chase just for misexplaining a card, and then that card, the Mana Flare that he played, actually ended up being probably the most prominent source of shocks for the whole table, because we kept constantly forgetting that it's adding more mana to our lands, and we just never remembered that, no matter how many times we got shocked. Okay, so I can finally play. I'm going to tap Plains. I'm going to tap Rogue's Passage, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So Mentor of the Meek is coming out. It's 3 because of the Mana Flare. So Mentor of the Meek states, whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under my control, I can pay 1, and if I do, I draw a card. So what I'm going to do next...
Do what you gotta do.
It's actually just such a shame, because I still only have this 1 Plains, which means the rest of my hand is unplayable. I pass. In response to that ETB, I'm going to tap 1, this is 2 now, but it doesn't matter. I'll have 1 floating. I'm going to flash in Brine Barrow Intruder. When it ETBs, a target creature an opponent controls gets -2, -0 until end of turn, so it's a 1/2 or 0/2 now.
Okay.
And that's going to trigger Mentor of the Meek because this is a power 1, so I can pay 1 to draw a card. I'll use the floating from this to draw 1. What went wrong?
I think that this is a very complicated phase, like a action-reaction thing going on.
Do you like the
because that has an ETB effect, doesn't it?
No.
No? What
So
when
you
you draw
said
your
that you
second
did it
card.
when it ETB'd, which is not something that you can react to. You can only react to cast.
Oh, gotcha. To sum up the error here, I'm too used to Yu-Gi-Oh! In the chain. The stack in Magic doesn't work the same. So when he brought in his commander, I wanted to flash in and target it, but I can't. I have to wait for another game action before I could have done that to respond. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it doesn't work that way. The chain's very different, and I'm just fucking hard-coded to be a Neanderthal idiot who only really knows Yu-Gi-Oh pretty well. So I had to rewire my brain here for the magic stack. But thanks to getting shocked a multitude of times in this game, I'm happy to say I still fuck it up. I'm happy to say I still didn't learn my lesson.
You could be making any number of mistakes right now.
Yeah.
Hey, your shock is no longer making contact with your skin. Judge?
That's a good point.
Oh, I know that I fucked up.
Hey, it's not touching your skin.
Sorry.
You haven't left the...
I tried to hear you.
Oh!
Was that a voluntary redo?
Combat. I've swung Narset at you, who is a 4/3.
Yeah, I'll take 4. Ow, fuck! God damn it!
We're in this together. We're fucking something up.
Yeah.
I've exiled the 4 cards. You got shocked, though. I know why you got shocked.
No, it's because I took combat damage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, well, now explain your wrong interpretation of why you got
No,
shocked.
I was making a little joke.
no.
I had life link, so I heal 4. Okay, combat.
Oh my god, that hurts so bad!
It really, it's hurting more.
Yeah.
Combat has resolved.
It's the fear.
So now I am
It's just
in
fear.
main phase 2.
That's
where
right.
I'm allowed to play the number that or the cards that I exiled. So I'm gonna bring out Boros Guildgate, which enters tapped. Why? None.
You can't
creature
cast lands.
cards.
Lands aren't casted.
Well, nobody taught me that. I'm playing like I am playing the game. I'm not going to cheat. So I'm moving up to 5 influence on Narset of the Ancient Way.
Loyalty.
Thank you.
Judge?
I thought about
No. It's, we say it differently in the South versus
Of course.
the North.
Right, of course.
So I gain 2 life.
It's a Mason-Dixon thing.
Whenever a source deals damage to it, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents.
All right, in response,
Sure.
I'm going to tap 1 island. I'm going to suspend the Phyrexian Obliterator.
Exile
So it's-
target creature.
and 2 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. I don't know what suspend is. What is suspend?
Suspend means that, well, if you want, Judge.
Basically, first, one moment I have to do that. And second of all, basically, it will go into exile with time counters, and they tick down, and at the end, he can cast it.
So why did you do that?
Great question.
It's because you can't target that to this until I do something else.
So even when it's on the battle, I thought at any time with an instant I can just target something.
It's only in response to them taking a game action. So technically, I would have priority to act. And you can only respond with an instant when priority passes after a game action has been taken. So if I play the creature, it's on the stack. It's a spell. Priority passes to everybody. It hits the battlefield. That's not an action, and I still have priority.
So I can't, when it hits the battlefield, I can't play that.
Correct.
I have to wait for you to do something
Only
else.
when I move phases or another game action has taken place.
It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh where you could respond to the resolution of things.
Yeah.
You have to wait until they make their next action. Even
Or
if
we go to
they
the next
don't
part of the
plan on
turn.
doing anything
Yep.
Okay.
to the resolution.
As you can see, I literally made the exact same mistake just like 10 minutes later, completely forgetting about how the stack works. But luckily, the buzzword was used that helps activate my brain. Yu-Gi-Oh! When put into Yu-Gi-Oh! Terms, I was able to comprehend it. It's like actually that meme from Twitter, like, hey, can someone explain this very important event in Fortnite terms? And then someone gets it. That's me with Magic. As long as you put it against Yu-Gi-Oh!, it helps me break down how Magic works in comparison, which is super sad. But I didn't make that mistake again for the rest of the game. So it just goes to show you, sometimes it only takes an extremely painful shock and people that are patient enough to explain the rules to you in words that a stupid idiot like yourself can understand. What a winning combination. So this is going to cost 1 more for each target that I target. Yeah, it costs 1 more to cast for each target beyond the first. So for the first, I'll only need to pay this cost.
Yep.
And I'm only going to target 1 creature on the board right now.
Okay.
Each creature exiled this way, its controller is going to get a 4/4 blue Sphinx token with flying. I'm targeting your Obliterator.
So this exiles it and it doesn't return?
Right.
Exile any number of target creatures. Okay.
Off-camera team, could you grab a Sharpie for our boy here?
After getting rid of the Obliterator, I finally started to draw what I needed to play the game, so I'm going to fast forward to towards the end here where my board state got fucking outrageously out of control, and you can see I wasn't making any more stupid misplays. I started to get really clean with my play, so the shock therapy started to work for me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Okay.
still here?
Yep, untapping everything. All right, everyone, buckle your seatbelts.
Alrighty.
Untap, upkeep, draw.
Okay.
Okay, land for turn. It's an island.
Big.
I'm going to tap 1 plains, which is actually 2, thanks to mana, cuckoldry, whatever. Spirit Bonds comes out whenever a non-token creatures enter the battlefield. I can pay white mana. If I do, I put a 1/1 white spirit creature token onto the battlefield with flying. That doesn't matter. I'm going to tap this for 2, this for 2, and I need 1 more, so I'm going to tap. I'll tap the Myriad Landscape. I have 1 floating. I'm going to play Migratory Route. I create 4 1/1 white bird creatures with flying. This is going to trigger 4 times. Everything's getting...
And that.
Question.
The birds.
Okay. Question for Judge. If a token is created, it's not casting, it's creating. Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Okay. So this is now a +6, which makes it a 7/7. This is a +9, which makes it a 10/10. The uptick Elspeth.
Today I don't.
Creating 3 more white soldier tokens.
Okay.
boy.
Which is going to put 3 more counters on all of my shit.
Big.
This is going to trigger 3 times. These are going to get +3 because they just came in. I'm going to get an additional +3 to all of my shit.
Nice. Big
So
boys.
you'll just have to take up to 4.
Yeah. So I have a couple triggers still on the stack when these come in. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield. Oh, non-token creature. Okay, so then what I'm going to have to do is I have to do this. I still have 1 floating mana.
I love the different feel of Magic from the beginning to 2 hours in.
Yeah, I'm going to tap that. That's going to give me 3. I'm going to play the Stone Cloaker. So when this ETBs, I return a creature I control to its owner's hand. I'm just going to choose a token and just let it die. Dead.
Good.
I can exile a target card from the graveyard. I'm just going to choose Propaganda from your graveyard.
Goodbye.
And that's going to trigger Cathar's Crusade. So this is going to be +1s to everything again. Since that is a non-token creature coming in, I'm going to trigger Spirit Bonds to pay 1. I'm going to tap this. This is 2 white mana. I'm going to use 1 of it to create another 1/1 Spirit token.
You're such a good Magic player. You've not been shocked.
I'm kind of cooking. Trigger. This is going to be an additional 1/1 to everything.
Holy shit.
Oh boy.
That's all I'll put in here for now. Check out the full video to see how it ends, because it's a conclusion I don't think anyone would see coming. Again, there's a link to it in the description of the video here. It was a very educational experience, and a very painful one at that. So, shock therapy, unethical. Yes, inhumane. But, can it make you a better Magic player? Probably not. But it'll definitely help you remember when you fuck up. You will definitely feel bad for it because it'll be painful. That's really about it. See ya. Yesterday, one of the biggest moments in human history finally happened. This is up there with the discovery of fire and the invention of the wheel. Dream did a face reveal. There was more hype around this than if Jesus Christ had resurrected again. Everyone was waiting anxiously, as if it was Christmas Eve, just waiting for Dream to drop the goodies. He had posted a premiere that was finally going to showcase his face to the world. There were streamers that were watching and waiting. Ludwig broke his all-time viewership record, having 150,000 concurrent viewers, just waiting for Ludwig to react to Dream's face. It was a big deal across the entire internet. I'll go ahead and quickly play a small clip from the video just so you can see his face, and we can go into everything that's happened since, because it's been kind of a wacky 24 hours here.
Hi. It feels so awkward talking to a camera for the first time. Hi, my name is Clay, otherwise known as Dream online.
No meme, no clickbait, as advertised, Dream's face. In 4K, full display, this is finally the face reveal that people never actually expected to happen. For over a year now, there's been leaks and all kinds of attempts to track down and triangulate Dream's position in order to find out what he looks like, to really deduce the point of the mask. Is it to hide burns? You know, is it like a Harvey Dent situation? So for a long time, people have been trying to figure out what he looks like, and he ripped the band-aid off yesterday, just showcasing it fully to the world. And the reason why it's been such a huge talked about deal is because I'm pretty sure it's the largest face reveal in YouTube history, at least in terms of the person's size. I'm pretty sure Dream is the largest creator that had never shown their face in terms of subscribers and views. He certainly hasn't been the longest running mysterious man. There's still people like How To Basic, H2O Delirious that haven't publicly shown their face, and they've been around far longer than Dream. I mean, even myself, I went the first 10 years of my YouTube channel faceless. But yeah, I'm pretty sure in terms of girth, Dream is the biggest channel that had never shown their face. So, let's talk about the aftermath of this, because this was a big moment. This is like the extinction event of the dinosaurs. This is the dawn of a new age here. The post-Dream face reveal. So, it turns out Dream is a good-looking guy. Of course, beauty is subjective, but I just don't know how anyone would look at him and think, damn, that guy's ugly. Because if that's the case, then my god, you must look at me like I'm some kind of repulsive goblin ooze creature. On Twitter, they were cooking Dream's cheeks for the better part of 12 hours. And that had me self-conscious like, oh my god, if they find him ugly, wait till they see me. They're gonna think I'm some kind of car accident victim that had butthole skin grafted to their face and fucking pube hair taped onto it. That shit had my self-esteem going right down the shitter. I felt like that SpongeBob episode, like, I'm ugly and I'm proud. Like, it was, like, that had an effect on me, my soul. Because, I mean, the number 1 and 2 trends after the Dream face reveal were, he's ugly, and Dream should have kept the mask on, or something like that. I can't remember the second one. But he's ugly was the number 1 trend, all just shitting on Dream's face reveal. And it was brutal. They were going hog wild on him for it. Now, of course, not everyone's going to find the same people attractive, but to find someone so abhorrent that you felt the need to make massive threads all about how ugly Dream is, as well as hyper-analyzing every bit of his facial features in order to prove empirically that he is ugly, was a next level of shitting on someone's appearance. That went hard. Now, of course, I'm no psychologist, but I'm going to pretend to be for a moment. I feel like a lot of it's just people hating Dream himself. There's a lot of people that hate Dream, they hate his fan base, can't fucking stand the guy. So I feel like no matter what he did here, this was going to happen. This was inevitable. He could have done this face reveal, and it turns out it was Henry Cavill behind the mask. Henry Cavill was Dream, and Twitter still would have eaten him alive calling him ugly, just because they don't like him at all. Now, that's just my take on it. It could be copium, because I don't want to live in a world where that's considered the ugliest creature in the world, because that puts me way down into the deepest pits of hell in terms of attractiveness. So it could just be cope for me. I don't really know. I'd also like to mention that some of the streamers that were watching the Dream face reveal video had the most outrageous reactions to seeing his face. Like, there was one guy in particular who started yelling and screaming as if there was like a murder taking place in front of him. Just melting down. He had to like stand up to calm himself down. Just going fucking crazy like, oh my god, no way, it's Dream's face. Just some people that were watching it were celebrating harder than if they had won the lottery. Or they were like so blown away like, how is this possible? He has a face! I don't know, I just wanted to at least point that out, that some of these reactions were nutty. But yeah, things got crazy online after this face reveal. Wubby posted a very interesting photograph that I wish I could share with you, but I can't, so I'll explain it. It was a picture of Dream's face in a cup with cum on it. So Wubby gave him a nice cum tribute and called it #WetDream, which is just so flattering and sweet. It's just been a lot of goofiness going on now since the Dream face reveal. I wanted to quickly say, like, my take as someone who didn't reveal their face for 10 years. After I did, it felt like such a breath of fresh air. Just, it opened so many doors for content. Like, I was able to do a lot more content that I've always wanted to do, but couldn't because I remained faceless for so long. And I imagine it's kind of the same for Dream, where now he feels like he's more able to do different kinds of content as opposed to just being restricted to one form of it. So yeah, I just wanted to toss that out there. I think face reveals are usually a good idea if you want to like branch out and do different kinds of content. And yeah, I just wanted to briefly talk about all this, and that's about it. So yeah. I really didn't think Twitter would ever have a stupider idea than super follows, that paid monthly subscription to your favorite Twitter account. I thought that was going to be like the magnum opus of incompetence for the site. But Elon Musk took over now. and his neurons are working overtime. He's rubbing the Dogecoins in his brain together and creating some absolute insanity when it comes to bad ideas for monetization. So let's talk about his new $8 a month subscription for check marks on Twitter. Elon Musk has only been the head of it for like less than a week and is already proving me wrong. I said he wouldn't make like any change whatsoever. It'd say exactly the same. But dude is fucking cleaning house at the company and implementing some absolute brain dead ideas. So I'm sure you guys all saw he's looking to charge like $20 a month for verification. After Stephen King's like, nah, I'm out, he started haggling with Stephen King in this public embarrassment, like a humiliation fetish from Elon Musk. He's like, oh bro, but what about $8 a month? So now he's rolling with $8 a month. Here, actually, I'll just pull up the tweet so you can read it. He like starts groveling at Stephen King's feet. Like, no, what do you mean you're leaving? Yeah, we need to pay the bills somehow. Twitter cannot rely entirely on advertisers. How about $8? I don't know how he wasn't embarrassed posting that publicly. That's so shameless. But yeah, so that's the idea, charging $8 to keep the check mark, as well as opening it up to anyone who can pay $8 a month and have a check mark. Oh, here it is. Lords and peasant system, power to the people for $8 a month. So I think most people can sniff out some problems right away with the idea, and Elon Musk himself. So Rubius point this out. What happens when a random user pays $8, changes his display name to Elon Musk using your same profile pic, starts tweeting like you, verified checks exist so people know they follow the real person. He doesn't even address that, he just said it already happens, which he's just blatantly wrong about. There's currently, at least not from the last time I checked, which was 2 hours ago, there is no verified Elon Musk scamming accounts, but there are people like impersonating him without the check mark. Whereas this can have verified scammers. But regardless, not even the biggest takeaway here. I think anyone who pays $8 for a check mark is an absolute certified fucking loser. It should only be used by like companies maybe. I could see that like companies or businesses wanting it. Individuals, I think that shit is trash. Like you are basically just begging to be bullied. Like that's like an elevated chat but on Twitter. That's just a -8 in every reply. I would not take a check mark from anyone seriously anymore. It would be too embarrassing. But yeah, his whole thing is like, it's going to... Actually, here, let me just pull it up instead of put words in his mouth. Here. You get priority in replies, mentions, and searches, which is essential to defeat spam and scams. Which I cannot believe he's that out of touch. This will only increase that because anyone can do it now. So now you can have verified scams, which are going to take priority in the replies and in the searches. I'm not paying $8 a month for the checkmark, I'll tell you right now. That is no shot. That is so dumb. It is more productive to burn your $8 a month. You are getting no value from it. So when that happens, there'll be like 1,000 moist criticals everywhere, and they will all be in the priority scamming people. So it's only going to increase that problem. And you don't even get an ad-free experience, you just get half as many ads. So imagine paying $8 a month for a stupid little Boy Scout badge and then still getting ads. How silly. This is like actual pay pig behavior where you just pay someone to get nothing in return except insults. $8 for a check mark. I see why he's doing it, because now he just paid $44 billion for this pile of shit, and there is no way it's making money, not even close, so he's just scrapping together every shitty idea to try and squeeze a little money into it. And he also has a problem right now where advertisers are pulling out. So not only is he losing all of his like members in the company, the employees that he's firing en masse, but the advertisers themselves are starting to pull out because they have no faith in Elon actually steering the ship. So he can't rely on them anymore, which he publicly admits to Stephen King. So he's just trying everything to make something back on this absolute massive shitpost that was so costly. Man made a $44 billion joke and is starting to regret it like a Darman video. This shit is super follows on crack. Oh, that is such a... I keep forgetting about super chats. Like, super chats is absolutely inviting wedgies into your life. If you are... sorry, super follows. Super follows invites, like, actual swirlies in the bathroom from the football team. If anyone sees that you are a super follower of someone on Twitch, you will never hear the end of it. You are going to be absolutely bullied on Twitter forever. So people don't do it. You never see super followers. Because you're paying for fucking nothing. And that is exactly what the checkmark's about to be with the $8 a month. It's so beautiful. I want to quickly explain superfollows a bit more since I'm aware that most of you probably don't even know what it is. It's a system Twitter rolled out where you can do a monthly paid subscription to your favorite Twitter accounts, and you get like a little badge that highlights you that you're a super follower publicly, so you can stand out in conversation, and you get bonus tweets. You probably haven't seen any super followers because no one uses it because it's downright embarrassing. This is just like going out in public and asking to be spit on. If someone sees you're a super follower on Twitter, good luck having anything you're talking about be taken seriously. And this is what I feel the checkmark will become with this new system if it goes into place. Because you're paying for nothing, and it publicly shows that you are wasting your money. So of course you're just going to be insulted for it, and I think that's going to be a deterrent for people buying it. Like, I just don't see why anyone would when you don't get anything in return for it except for a public badge that lets people know you're wasting your money. Oh, to all complainers, please continue complaining, but it'll cost $8. Fucking epic. That's a fat own right there, noobs, from the mastermind of memes. Let that sink in. I mean, I wish he would have just shut it down. Maybe this is like a long-term play to like slowly wean people off of it, which would be pretty big brain. But it would have been better if he just like, yeah, I regret it, I'm shutting it down. That would have been fantastic. But now he's just gonna go out sad here with this one. Just a way to make money. Yeah, it's a desperate way of making money. One that I don't see going super well. The only people that are gonna use it are people that do it to troll or scam. Why the fuck is a normal person gonna care about having a check mark on their name? Yeah, I'm Biff Cheeseburger from North Baptist University. I want to be verified on Twitter. I'll pay $8 a month for it. I saw, like, even the Elon meat writers that pretty much support everything are kind of scratching their heads here. Because for $8 a month, you're getting nothing. You get priority in replies, yeehaw, so you can say L plus ratio quicker than most people and have it at the top. Like, you don't get anything out of that subscription. They keep comparing it to things like Netflix or Hulu subs, but think of all the content you get from anything else with a subscription. Fucking RuneScape, you get an entire thousands hours worth of gameplay. World of Warcraft, and then any streaming service ever. You get fucking tons of content. On Twitter, you get a checkmark, you get a badge. It's worthless. Like, if it was a one-time payment, I could see some people doing it. But a subscription, a monthly subscription to have that, nobody's doing that, except for businesses, maybe. No shot. And you don't even get an ad-free experience, so it's even worse than, like, anything else, like, alternative. O.J. Simpson finally getting his checkmark. True! O.J. Simpson made that post to Elon. Now that Elon's got Twitter under his control, maybe now I can get verified. And he can for only $8. So we finally got the real OJ with that check mark. You can be like OJ Simpson on Twitter. Let's go. Fucking huge. So I can make fake government accounts for only $8. We were talking about this on the podcast, and someone in the chat made like a really fun suggestion of just impersonating foreign policy like higher ups. Because you can do this infinitely, right? Even if you have to verify via photo ID and you get banned for impersonation, you can just do it again. You can just keep doing this over and over again and keep changing your handle to like anyone with a position of power and just going fucking hog wild. He said the $8 will help fund content creators. Is there any info on this? Oh yeah, he did say that. No, that just seems like buzzwords to get people more on his side because people love that kind of sentiment. I don't know how the fuck that's going to fund content creators on Twitter. Like, what the fuck is a Twitter content creator? Like, just anyone with a big following on Twitter? I think the payable verification at this point is meant to reduce bots and not meant to signify that an account belongs to a public figure. Yeah, but it's not going to stop anything with bots or scams or anything. Because it's open to anyone. You can just pay $8 a month. It's just going to be a little costly to promote your scams, but you're going to get more out of it because it's going to fool more people because of the checkmark. And since it floats to the top of the replies now, and since it's going to be the first things that come up when you search things, scams are going to be much more prevalent. Assuming it goes as he has it stated so far. Maybe he has fail-safes in mind, but he certainly hasn't said that yet. How will this stop bots? Bots already exist now, and when you implement buying verification, you'll have the same bots plus easily verified bots. I don't know, like, he's not very in touch. It doesn't, like, I don't see how this stops spam or bots. It seems to me to only increase spam and scams, but I guess we'll see. Like, it doesn't seem to stop bots. The bots are still there, and now some of them can be verified. I feel like I've said this 100 times by now, but I'm gonna yap about it again, so get ready to add to that tally. Being the first person to accomplish something will always be a significant achievement no matter what it is. Whether you're Matt Damon being the first person to grow potatoes on Mars, or Charles White being the first person to achieve a sub 20-second speed run in the game Mr. Krabs overdoses on ketamine and dies. Both of these things are something to be proud of. And a few days ago, we got to witness something incredible. The first human being to actually beat Tetris for the NES. This is something that has never been done before in the 30-plus year history of the game, and it's a feat that was long thought impossible. But that's what people said about my growth spurt, and trust me, it's on the way. Nothing is impossible. And the runner named Blue Scooty proved that by reaching the first true kill screen for Tetris. He posted the run on his YouTube channel. His real name is Willis. He's 13 years old, and he did something no one else has ever done before with this accomplishment. It's extremely impressive here, and there's a great video that breaks down what makes it so special, as well as kind of the entire history of running Tetris. So I highly recommend checking this video out to really get a full understanding of the scale of this achievement. So as you would expect, everyone got really excited about this. People love to see something being done for the first time ever, being able to feel like you're part of history to witness this moment. And everyone was pumping their fist, celebrating this achievement from Willis, except for one lady. One miserable old asshole had to go out there, and instead of pumping her fist, she was shaking it, saying, "Damn you kids, you hooligans, this isn't cool. I'm not having any fun, so why should you?" and spit on it on a news broadcast. She's this journalist who made an absolute fucking fool of herself. All right, let's talk about Tetris. So I'm sure all of you saw this yesterday, but big news, or was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday. Big news though, a 13-year-old became the first human being to actually beat Tetris. So fundamentally what that means is the game stopped working. He had a score so high that the CPU just couldn't process it anymore, and it stopped working, which is crazy. It's a wild accomplishment. Like, it's super cool. So here's the clip. There's a great YouTube video on it already. But the kid's super excited, and he has every right to be. It's a wonderful achievement. Very wholesome, very cool. Everyone was pumping their fists for the kid, except for Ebenezer Scrooge over here. This absolute witch. This lady took it as an opportunity to belittle it and insult him. So here's a segment from Sky News, which is already a joke of an organization. And I guess this host was having a bit of a rough day. Needed to shit on some people's fun. There we go.
Now, Tetris has long been touted as a video game that just can't be beaten because it just goes on and on. Well, 13-year-old American Willis Gibson has technically proven that wrong. He beat the original Nintendo version of the game by reaching such a high level that the coding froze. That left the program unable to generate any more falling blocks.
Now, ordinarily, as a news anchor,
Step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Speaking of fresh air, let's get a look at the weather.
good one. So as a news anchor, you would think that your wholesome news segment, which this was, it was supposed to be uplifting news, you probably wouldn't want to sully it by shitting on the person, the subject here. But she just couldn't help herself. There's no way that was in the script. And she's so fucking proud of herself, too, for insulting a 13-year-old. Oh, whoops, misclick.
Step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal.
I don't understand. It is a very impressive achievement. And it's not like we're in the, the early 90s anymore. You can make a whole career out of an achievement like that. That kid could go on to do a lot of cool things as that being his, like, lightning rod moment. That is something to be proud of and could legitimately turn into a more prosperous career than this soulless husk of a woman sitting here on Sky News. With this hollow smile. Probably in a loveless marriage. I'll get parasocial. Like, he literally did nothing besides just enjoy himself, pull off something really fucking cool, and she's just going with the classic, oh, go outside nerd shit. It's so ridiculous. And, like, legitimately out of nowhere for an uplifting news segment. This kid should try Donkey Kong next, take the title from Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell would go to his house and break his kneecaps himself, personally. And then pour his hot sauce brand in his eyeballs or something, try and blind him. For his own safety, Willis should stay away from Donkey Kong. Gonna sue a 13-year-old for being better than him. A crazy plot twist would be if Billy Mitchell sued Willis, assuming Willis takes the title, of cheating. That'd be almost poetic. Oh, look, this is cute. The makers of Tetris agree. Congratulations to Blue Scuddy for achieving this extraordinary accomplishment, a feat that defies all preconceived limits of this legendary game. Tetris CEO Maya Rogers said in a statement. Rogers noted that Tetris will celebrate its 40th anniversary this year and called Willis' victory a monumental achievement. That's so fucking cute. It really is a monumental achievement that Willis should be extraordinarily proud of. He's earned it. And he also dedicated that world record run to his father, who had recently passed away. So the whole situation should have been a very wholesome, heartfelt moment on Sky News here, but this venomous asshole decided to insult the kid for this and belittle the achievement publicly with this smug little smile on her face, like she was so happy with herself to be ruining other people's fun. Or trying to make a 13-year-old feel bad. It's craziness. This is a grown-ass adult. More than a grown-ass adult. It's an adult that's teetering on geriatric these days. And to do this, it's just frustrating. It's no surprise that everyone online came crashing down upon her, dunking on her left and right, because she made herself the easiest asshole on the planet to dislike. Just so miserable. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that briefly because this is an incredible achievement that unfortunately was sullied a little bit because of her reporting. But I actually think it had more of an opposite effect. Yeah, a lot of maybe the older octogenarians that are watching Sky News probably were like, ha ha ha, this is stupid, kids playing games isn't cool, or that's not a real achievement or a life goal, like she says, ha ha ha. Like, while they may not care and may belittle it, this actually put more of a spotlight on Blue Scooty, his achievement. So I think, in turn, this may have actually been even more beneficial because it got even more people aware that Willis had just done something that had never been done before with this Tetris world record. All in all, it may have actually been a net positive that this lady made an absolute clown of herself publicly for everyone to throw tomatoes at. But I just wanted to cover this briefly. Another huge congratulations to Blue Scooty. I'm excited to see where the Tetris community goes from here. As of making this video, there's already been 2 other runners that have also reached the true kill screen. So kind of like when the 4-minute mile barrier was broken and then a lot of other people started to be able to get 4-minute miles, that's kind of what's happening with Tetris at the moment, with 2 other runners reaching this kill screen. So really incredible stuff, and I'm excited to see more from it in the future. So, yeah, I just want to talk about it a little bit. And I also want to give you a quick Starforge update. The best PCs in the universe, in case any of you are needing to upgrade your PC or needing to get a PC to start with some gaming. Starforge is the best option available. You can click the link in the description below to get started. And here's a little word from Starforge.
With generational improvements, aesthetic updates, and our consistently high build quality, this system is bound to be the envy of both family and friends alike. For yours, check out StarForgeSystems.com, and I'll see you in the Forge.
I'm no stranger when it comes to shitting on Ricegum. He is a toilet for which my butthole is always eager to drop some doo-doo on. I've made that very clear over the last 2 or 3 years. I can't stand this guy. He's the incarnation of a wet fart with a super fake personality preaching some awful shit to children, and it's always just so lovely when he fucks up and the entire internet community is reminded that he has the most insecurities, is the biggest douchebag with the smallest penis. It's like a little bit of a Clue game, you know what I mean? That instead of identifying a killer, you're identifying a huge douchebag, and it's always Ricegum. Now, we got a little bit of a late Christmas present here because Ricegum's wrapped up in some controversy. I'm not going to get too deep into what he did because a bunch of YouTubers are talking about it ad nauseum, and I'm not just going to parrot that same shit. The only reason I'm talking about it is because it's Ricegum and he's a fun little punching bag. So in a nutshell, what he did is he made a video in partnership with Mystery Brand promoting their product, which is a gambling site aimed at children aspiring to be a douchebag. You know, those kids that are growing up watching people like Ricegum and Jake Paul going, Mom, Dad, when I get older, I want to be an asshole. So it's a site that hopes to cater to that audience. What you do is you bid on mystery boxes that can have everything from a toothpick covered in cat fuzz to a $250 million mansion. That's actually one of the things in their box. And obviously that doesn't exist. You're not going to become fucking Tony Stark playing your Mystery Brand gambling simulator. That's not going to happen, but children don't know that. You could put the fucking Infinity Stones on there and they'd think they should just start throwing their parents' credit card on the site. Half of the shit from their grand prize pool and their mystery boxes, shit that they just don't have the rights to. There's no way they have. I'm surprised there isn't like a mom and dad get back together item in their shoe mystery box, or in the Supreme mystery box, you get a hover boots from Supreme. Just complete nonsense to draw children in is what it is, and kids don't know any better. Before Ethan H3H3 made the video about this, Ricegum's video had overwhelmingly positive response to it. People in the comments were super excited about it, talking about the things they were winning or the things they weren't winning, and they were all super excited. So it's kids that like this and adults that can see why this is a bad thing. Ricegum is promoting gambling to these children that are now becoming gambling addicts. If you look at the older comments on his videos, you can see how much they fucking loved it, which is very alarming and sad, and should honestly be illegal if it's not. Now, if you watch his video or Jake Paul's or Morg's or any of the other douchebags that were promoting this site, you'll immediately notice that the site is exactly like the CSGO lotto scam that was run by Syndicate, T. Martin, and Josh OG, where you do these mystery things and you get this mystery item and it's aimed at children, gambling for kids, which is obviously fucking awful. Now, Ricegum, in response to all this, made a video, and this man is so fucking dumb he can't even write a sentence without showing how fucking dumb he is. The title of the video is YouTubers Calls Me Out. Are you illiterate, Ricegum? Did you not go to school? Did you just pay everyone to do your English papers for you when you went? You're like the Floyd Mayweather of YouTube. Absolutely illiterate, but instead of being good at fighting like Mayweather, you're good at nothing. You have no discernible skills. The title should read, YouTubers Call Me Out for being a big piece of shit. Now, calling this video an apology would be like calling Amy Schumer a good comedian. It's not even close. This is not so much an apology as it is a, I'm going down and I'm taking all of these other people with me. He just starts name-dropping a bunch of other douchebags that did the exact same brand deal he did, and that's about it. And then he has the audacity, the gall, to do a $10 Amazon gift code giveaway at the end of his apology.
I already did it. The damage has been done. You guys already saw a money-hungry side of me, and it is what it is, and there's nothing I can really do but say sorry and give you these Amazon gift cards. So I'm sorry. It just wouldn't happen again. Amazon codes $10 to $20, just a little giveaway. It's the least I can do after, you know, this, you know. Okay. Have a good day, guys. I'm sorry again. I hope you guys can forgive me.
Oh, shit. Hey, guys. I stole a lot of money from you. I'm sorry. I got you this Subway sandwich. I hope that makes up for it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just such a blatant disregard for giving a shit about his fans. Openly just doesn't care. And it's sad. I don't know why these fans of his continue to stay in this abusive relationship with this guy. This man openly drops trousers and takes a big old pee-pee right in their mouth. I don't know why they accept the golden shower from Ricegum so frequently, but they do. They must fucking love it. It's their fetish, their kink. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the deep lore surrounding Ricegum's humble origins. I'm assuming he came from a very wealthy family based on the way he handles these kind of situations, where he thinks by giving away some money, everyone's going to forgive him. Like, oh, you're such a fucking saint, Ricegum. You did this brand deal for more than $100,000 and you gave us $200 in Amazon gift cards that were probably already used when you showed them on screen. Wow, you're a goddamn hero. What a fucking patriot you are. Amazing. This guy is just such a privileged piece of shit. He just doesn't know how to be human anymore. I really just don't think it's in his nature to even understand people. And his conversational skills are atrocious. He went on Logan Paul's podcast and talked about this shit briefly. This man can hardly struggle through a sentence without saying like 1,000 times and having one of those vocal trills, you know, the Hill Valley Girl things, the vocal fries, excuse me, the hey guys, that kind of deal. That's all he can fucking do. That's the only way he can talk. That's all he can sound like. And he's constantly fucking perpetually nasally because he's got like a perpetual cold haunting his fucking sinuses. The man is insufferable to listen to and he can't speak and he's such a piece of shit. Let's go ahead and look at the clip from the podcast.
And like that was sick. Like I kind of like I really wish I was a part of it. I can't fight and shit, so like that's probably why I wasn't a part of it. But like that's some big shit right there, man.
Would you ever fight someone?
Yeah, I mean, dude, so look, if we talking about fighting, it's about the opponent, you know what I'm saying?
I have nipples, Ricegum. Would you fight me? And if you do fight me, can you not wear that disgusting stained red sweatshirt you have on? Look at this shit. Look at that sweatshirt. It's covered in ketchup stains and grease marks. That's apparently by design. If this is high fashion, then I don't know what the fuck is wrong with rich people. It is absolutely repulsive and abhorrent.
Man, so I guess there's two things that are going on. One is like apparently I'm promoting gambling to kids, right? So I talked about that. It's my last video. I explained it, but like that is like I guess I was promoting gambling to kids.
By golly, yes. Why, yes, that is what you were doing, Ricegum. And you know what that means? It means you're a big piece of shit. Well, hey, thanks for joining me on the Shit on Ricegum video. Don't forget, Ricegum is not only a big douchebag, but a huge pussy. Brian, if you're watching this, no amount of money you have can make you not a huge pussy. Don't forget that. Take it easy, everyone. See ya. I've been debating talking about this topic for the last couple of days, but it's such an awful situation I really didn't want to. I was hoping that it would have settled down by now, but it's only been getting more popular, so I figured I might as well at least discuss it before it gets fully out of control. Right now, the worst content creators on YouTube are getting millions of views and making thousands of dollars by following one disgusting, shameful trend. And I know that sounds like one of those old banner ads on porn sites. This ugly piece of shit's fucking hot moms in your area, and you can too. Doctors hate him. Click here to find out how. But unlike those ads, I'm not making this up or exaggerating. Right now, there are tons of degenerate loser scumbags that are trying to use the passing of Technoblade as a way of gaining subscribers and making lots of money, either by clickbaiting videos with Technoblade in the title, or by making 10 or 20 plus videos all about the passing of Technoblade in order to get the maximum juice for the squeeze from the AdSense. It's so disgusting and shameful. It's fucking vile. I'm certain all of you have heard by now, but just in case, Technoblade was a very large creator on YouTube. He had a massive audience and was a very influential and inspirational creator to a lot of people and channels. And unfortunately, he passed away recently. His father made a heartbreaking video going over the whole situation, and it's just been really sad. So obviously a lot of people on the internet have been mourning the loss of Technoblade. However, there's been some extremely twisted, sick fucks that have tried to use this situation as a way of financially gaining. It's like some actual villain shit. Like Mr. Krabs with dollar signs in his eyes once they saw that Technoblade passed. They immediately started making videos on it, clickbaiting him, and really trying their best to capitalize off the passing of an absolutely great person. I'm not going to show you very many of them because obviously a lot of it is just done for the attention, like the rage clicks. They just want to farm as many views off it as possible, so I'm only going to show a couple here. This first example comes from a channel named It's Owen, and of course this video they posted isn't real, it's just clickbait. And I was actually familiar with this channel before they posted this video, because this channel was notorious for dog shit clickbait. He'd constantly post things like, I met Mr. Beast and he was very mean to me, even spit on me, parentheses, very rude. Or, Mr. Beast forgot to stop recording and his wiener fell out, yucky. Oh, and then also some shit like, a fan asked PewDiePie for an autograph and ended up in the hospital because PewDiePie beat him within an inch of his life, parentheses, Not nice at all. Just awful garbage. I have more respect for shit stains in a gas station urinal than I do for Owen, but at least there's a happy ending here, because Owen did get banned for this, and he's whining on Twitter about it right now. He checks in almost hourly to see if YouTube's decided to overturn their decision, and we can only pray they don't. Justice has at least been somewhat served with Owen being off the platform, but from what I understand, he actually has another account, or even a couple other accounts. Going back on his Twitter timeline, it seems like he has a side hustle of creating YouTube accounts, posting absolutely abominable clickbait on them in order to gain subscribers quickly, and then selling those accounts, as well as the play buttons associated with them. I will say though, I am a little bit skeptical of the Twitter account here because it only has 560 followers despite the YouTube channel having almost 4 million. But I could also see why it wouldn't have any followers since his content is only clickbait that people click on for 10 seconds and then leave. Even like 4-year-old toddler baby brains on autoplay. And then they'll just accidentally subscribe. So they wouldn't exactly follow him to Twitter. And he is having like a dialogue with YouTube, so I'm assuming this is the legitimate account. His newest post is also super embarrassing. It just says new bitch with him pinching a girl's ass. I don't know how people get delusional enough like this to think that these pictures are cool. I guess in his head he thought this was pure epic style flex, but in reality he just looks really goofy and silly. He's wearing a fucking hat that says icon on it, despite no one knowing who he is. He is a faceless clickbaiter. And I wouldn't be surprised if this girl has no idea who he is. He just convinced her, like clickbaited her, into thinking that he was the brother of Napoleon Dynamite. But of course, Owen isn't alone in being this shameless. Yes, he was a massive hemorrhoid that YouTube has thankfully removed, but there's still plenty more plaguing the butthole of the platform. I'm not going to show many others, but there are a ton of other YouTubers that are making content just like Owen did that he got banned for. Clickbaiting the passing of Technoblade. Now let me move on to the next big channel that I'd like to show you. This is Dream SMP Official, except it's not official, and it's just doing the best it can to monetize the passing of Technoblade. They have posted 25 Technoblade videos since his passing.
My heart goes out to his family and loved ones. Hug those that are close to you. Tell the ones that you love them.
That's the content that he's posting around the passing of Technoblade. A screenshot of Dream SMP member posts being read by text-to-speech. And he posts a video on it and monetizes it. He has made thousands of dollars from this over just the last 4 or 5 days. And I believe Microsoft Sam is entitled to at least a good portion of that because he's got text-to-speech working overtime on this shit. Posted 25 videos on the passing of Technoblade. And this is operated by one person whose name is Runalong. And they were confronted in Discord about it. This is confirmed to be run by Runalong because if you click the Twitter associated with his account, it goes to his Twitter and the Discord. So it is not actually owned and operated by Dream SMP. It is just someone that's piggybacking off it and profiting big time. So in a Discord interaction, a user says, why don't you have the charity link to the side? Like, look at this video by Techno. And they mention the feature where you can add fundraisers to videos, which immediately put a donation option for viewers, which is right to the side of the video. It's used by a lot of people. And when asked about this, Runalong says, people can donate with or without it. I'm still giving a portion of my money away. Going a bit deeper, he says that he'll provide screenshots as well when he receives it. To which they respond, but I have another question. Why so many videos about Techno? I counted 17, so this is probably like 4 hours old because he's already posted an additional 8 videos since this interaction. I understand it's important in breaking news, but 17 is so many. He says, the more I get, the more I can give back. And to which they respond, and the more goes into your own pocket too. Which is absolutely correct. Since he's only giving a portion away, the more videos he makes taking advantage of Techno's passing, which is such a fucked up thing to even say out loud, the more he does that, the more money he is making. And yeah, I suppose by extension, the more money he gives away to charity, assuming he even does that, which I highly doubt. But regardless, this is dog shit. Every person right now, YouTube commentators who have made 9 or 10 videos on Techno's passing, all of them are hiding behind this, I'm giving the money to charity though, so I'm a good guy thing. All of them are using it as a way of deflecting criticism, when in reality it's blatantly obvious all of them are vultures trying to use this situation as a way of gaining subscribers and engagement. That's just the pure factual meat of it right there. There is no way of justifying making 9 or 10 or 25 videos on a tragic situation like the Technoblade situation. There's just no way of ever convincing me that what you're doing actually has a noble cause. There's one commentator in particular who's been in some hot water recently, being called out by a lot of different channels. I'm not going to show them because, again, mainly they do these things for attention and just cheap clicks, and plus I don't want anyone to go over and harass them or anything. But they've posted, I believe, 9 or 10, maybe even 11 videos all on techno, and they have been trying to take this high road of all of the money that these are generating is going to charity. And then they gave an update saying, we've raised like $1,000 for charity thanks to these videos. But the videos have like, in total, like 3 million views. So bare minimum, that should be like 2.5 to 3K. So they're already being disingenuous with what they're actually making off the situation. All of them are using this as a way of milking a very great YouTuber's unfortunate passing. And they know it, the audience knows it, but they're trying their absolute best to spin it in a way that helps them sleep at night or doesn't make them look like an irredeemable piece of shit to their audience. As this was rendering, I think it's only fair that I mention that the YouTuber I'm referencing posted a video showing that they donated 3K to the charity in the Technoblade tribute. The videos actually earned about 2.7K, which he showed, and then he put in an extra 300 of his own money to get the 3K. And that's cool, that's good, money going to charity. But it doesn't at all change my opinion of him or what he was doing. It doesn't matter if you give every penny that those videos generate to a charity, because that's not the only way you're profiting from the situation. This commentary channel I just mentioned has gained 16,000 subscribers over the last 4 days, where usually they experience 1,000 subscribers per month. So in 4 days, they have 16x'd their normal monthly gain. That's fucking wild. What are you gonna do? Start donating subscribers to a charity as well to make up for it? You're not the good guy, no matter how hard you pretend to be. It's more than just profiting like actual dollars from AdSense. You have gained so many subscribers off of this situation. And even if all of the videos were not monetized, like if all of the Dream SMP videos weren't monetized, all 25 of them had no monetization at all, same with the commentary videos, even if none of them were monetized, you are still directly putting your mouth on the teats of this and milking it and capitalizing off of it. It's always great to celebrate a donation to a good cause, but that doesn't mean you have to celebrate the person that did it. Now, I want to make it clear before things get mixed up here, I don't think there's anything wrong with making a video on Technoblade, like a tribute to Technoblade, talking about them, going over what they meant to you, as well as just the internet as a whole. I think all of that's very positive and wholesome and can be great. And donating the money that those videos make through AdSense to charity is even better. But there is never a situation where you're gonna do that 8, 9, 10 times genuinely. Like, there's just no reason for it. That's milking it. That's taking advantage of it for your own personal gain. There's being respectful, and then there's being shameful. And it's very clear where most of these fall. Videos like what I just showed you from Dream SMP, from Owen, as well as touched on from commentators, where it's exceeding like this crazy amount of content all surrounding a tragedy, that's absolutely milking it and being disrespectful. And while we're already on this topic, there's another really awful trend that I want to bring up in this same general ballpark, and this happens with every celebrity passing ever on YouTube. There's always going to be those children that come from loveless, broken homes that'll make a video talking about why it's a good thing the celebrities died, or summoning that dead celebrity at 3 a.m., or they're in hell, burning in hell, all of that awful, disgusting shit. That's unfortunately been happening with Technoblade, and a lot of people have been posting that content all around the internet, and people have been sharing it in order to go to the video and leave hate messages, and that's exactly what they want from you. The reason those videos get made is for those hate messages in the comments. They're done in order to get quick views from people that are outraged by the content. They're doing it as outrage bait to farm engagement that way. So the best thing to do with that is completely ignore it. That's existed for a few years now in like a big way, and it's probably going to continue to exist, and the only thing you can do is not go over there to give them any sort of attention at all. It'll eventually just die out once they realize no one gives a fuck about them. They're faceless losers in real life, but online they can have some kind of presence by making people mad at them, and that attention is the only thing that gives them some level of comfort in life. It's sad, it's pathetic, but you have to just be strong enough to resist the temptation to insult them on the video, because by going to that video, giving them that view, giving them that comment, you're doing exactly what they want from you. So I just wanted to put that out there. I hate that shit, but you have to just ignore it. I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today with this awful trend going around on YouTube. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Well, in the original Iron Man, he was set up to be War Machine. So Terrence Howard is a very popular actor. He's been in a lot of big things, but the one most people know him for is his role in Iron Man. He got replaced by Don Cheadle because Terrence said he was really unhappy that he wasn't making as much money as Robert Downey Jr. And there's so much to go in here. This is an onion with many layers. Terrence Howard also believes that he has discovered and created his own logic language, which he calls teriology. He has spent the better part of, I think, about 7 or 8 years, trying to mathematically prove that 1 times 1 equals 2, and that 0 doesn't exist. Didn't he say people watched Iron Man because of him? Yeah, he credits Iron Man's success to his role. Yeah, this is the 1 times 1 equals 2 guy. But I always knew about that shit, but I didn't know that wasn't the end of it. So I was reading some of the comments here and getting as much information. I'm going to show you the scam that he's trying to run right now in a minute. But I was reading so much about him and like going through this rabbit hole. And this is from one of his books, apparently. I haven't read the whole book, but I'm assuming it's an excerpt because it has to go with his idea that 0 isn't real. So, where is it? Here. I made that statement, there's no such thing as 0. He looked at me with a puzzled look upon his face, and the professor said, let's say you had an apple, and I had an apple, and you gave me your apple. How many apples do you have? I said, I have 2 apples. He said, you don't understand, you gave me your apple. I said, no, you don't understand. Actual, I'm 14 and this is deep shit. As long as you are still inside this universe, whatever you have, I have, because everything in this universe is connected to everything else. Even if you could take my apple and place it into an adjacent universe, I would still have 2 apples, because as long as the universe is touching this universe, then everything in that universe is still connected to and influenced by every single atom in this universe. Therefore, my giving you my apple is paramount to me transferring my apple from my left to my right hand, because all things are one. So using his own logic language here, he should have no right to be whining about not getting paid as much as Robert Downey Jr. because basically Robert Downey Jr.'s money is his money. That's the argument he makes here. The man is a walking contradiction of his own dog shit logic. Okay, but that was years ago. What? No, he still does this. What? Look, this is from 2 days ago.
Was there for 2 years until I saw that there was an inconsistency
with the math.
There.
Yep.
And so I went out to explore
1 times 1 equals 2
of understanding how the universe works, and I was able to define the grand unified field equation they've been looking for and put it into geometry. And then with that geometry, I was able to
put props
on that. And what I'm saying is now we have invented a new form of flight that I would like to bring here to Uganda to replace the drones, to replace the helicopters, to replace the planes in which to build this. Now, this is the geometry of hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Of hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
This is the proton itself. So any bond that hydrogen can make, our linchpins are able to make. So we're talking about unlimited bonding, unlimited predictable
it's like an anime.
Structures, supersymmetry. And
so many buzzwords.
The linchpins are now able to behave as a swarm, as a colony that can defend a nation, that can harvest food, that can remove plastics from the ocean, that
can do anything, can fuck your own wife.
Uganda and the people of Uganda an opportunity without having to have our young men lose their lives.
All thanks to the hydrogen linchpin bonding geometry that he was able to discover. See, I don't know what you're talking about, but that was years ago. He still believes this and does this actively. This was 3 days ago at a conference, trying to sell them on a scam. And this was back when I first found him. He published a paper on 1 times 1 equals 2. and he posted it on Twitter to get laughed at. Oh, another really interesting thing. This one's more sad than interesting, honestly. Terrence Howard, when he was a child, witnessed his dad stab a guy to death at a mall during a Santa Claus showing. They called it the Santa line slaying. I had no idea, but I learned this yesterday. When Terrence Howard was a child, him and his father were in line to sit on Santa's lap, and his dad got into an altercation with another guy. I think his name was Jack Fitzpatrick. They started arguing. Jack Fitzpatrick eventually pushed Terrence Howard's dad against a wall, and then they got broken up, and then Terrence's dad got some sharp object. No one knows whether it was a knife or if someone gave him something or whatever, because there was apparently a story about how a bystander gave him a nail filer to fight back, and he took the sharp object and stabbed him a lot, and he died. And it's called the Santa line slaying. And Terrence Howard is so shameless that he went on Oprah's show and told a complete fabrication of the events that happened, so much so that Terrence Howard's own dad came out and basically just called him a lying clout chaser. Why would you stab someone who you just met? You make it sound like it was at Thanksgiving or something. They got into an argument, and apparently both parties were at fault. They both got rowdy, but Terrence Howard's dad took it much further than the other guy, clearly, and stabbed him to death. All over cutting in line during a Santa Claus event at a mall. Oh, this is also a really cool quote that people always give thanks for. If 1 times 1 equals 1, that means that 2 is of no value because 1 times itself has no effect. 1 times 1 equals 2 because the square root of 4 is 2. So what's the square root of 2? Should be 1. But we're told it's 2, and that cannot be. Fucking poetry, man. That's so deep. This man is traveling through dimensions with this advanced mathematics. That paragraph would fool 60% of Americans into thinking it's accurate. No, you're actually wrong. So, and I understand, like, Americans super dumb, and I've been on Twitter, so I think everyone's kind of fucking dumb to some level. But even Terryology, nobody besides Terry believes in. So Terrence Howard, like I said, has spent the better part of like 7 years trying to prove his logic language, 1 times 1 equals 2, 0 doesn't exist, all these things. And it's called Terryology. And I believe he even patented it. Nobody, not even his most brainwashed fans, believe in it. They still laugh at him for it, to this day. I really want to find the tweet, though, because in his own paper that he published to prove 1 times 1 equals 2, he put in an entire section of fan fiction about the Sky People, the Anunnaki that once indoctrinated us into believing 1 times 1 equals 1, or something, whatever the fuck it was. I need to find that tweet. It was somewhere in these comments. So this is his paper on 1 times 1 equals 2. And in this section right here, he starts talking about the Anunnaki Sky People in his own, like, actual published paper to try and debunk incorrect mathematics. Some call them the Anunnaki, the Sky People, whomever they were that gave that naive generation some 6,000 years ago a multiplication table and a flat view of universal geometry. They gave that poor misguided people a false axiom upon which to build their world. A false axiom that would behave almost as a bumper for our infantile-like species. A tutor, as it were. A false axiom that would allow for a measure of growth and productivity for that civilization, but would inevitably lead to failure and its inevitable collapse. Unfortunately, the later generations would eventually come to inherit this once thriving Mediterranean metropolis that includes, and not so lucky, entire world. Now for the last 5,000 or plus years, our ancestors enslaved our thinking with that dogma for generations upon generations, leading down to our great-grandparents, and who, in like manner, indoctrinated their children, who in turn would help the newly formed system called tradition to propagate this false truth to the rest of the world. This is a paper he published to try and prove 1 times 1 equals 2. And that is in the paper. Holy fuck, this guy is based. I'm a Terryologist now. Hey, man. Nothing but respect to all the Terryologists out there. He says that 0 doesn't exist. I know. I was just talking about that. He believes that 0 can't exist because all of our universes touch each other, so everything is 1. Which, again, this ties into the idea. If Terrence really believes that, why not just give away all of his money? Because it'd still be his money. He'd still have his money by his own logic. Just give it to everyone who commented on this Twitter post. Give it to the Terryologists. 100% this is because of a bad acid trip. It's super possible, but I actually think it's probably rooted in something much sadder. Like I mentioned, he watched his dad murder a man in line for Santa Claus. Like, that's a traumatizing thing. I think from the get-go, this guy was just kind of fucked. Hashtag proof? Was that to me? It's a very well-documented thing. Here, it's called the Santa line slang. Happened in 1971, I think. Yeah, 1971. Jack Fitzpatrick, and I believe his dad's name is Tyrone Howard? Yeah, Tyrone Howard. That's a cool origin story. Yeah, I don't know about cool, necessarily. But it actually does sound like an origin story out of a comic book. And then he just recently made that statement in Uganda, which actually does sound like a supervillain giving away his plan about how he solved the universal, whatever, grand levitation equation or some shit, and how he's using hydrogen bonds for unlimited power, and it'll be a drone, it'll be a plane, it'll clean plastics from the ocean. Oh yeah, the hydrogen proton. Right. I like his math. I'm pretty sure this doubles my money. Well, it's not your money to begin with, it's Terrence's money. It's all of our money. Read the book on stream and convert the chat to Terryology. Well, the book isn't like... As I understand it, the book is shit like this, where he starts talking about the Anunnaki sky people, and then just throwing formulas all over the place, but getting all of the formulas wrong. Like, endlessly wrong. So it's not exactly like a book to be read. It's more of like a look into lunacy. Like, written out. Maybe Terry was right. Can you imagine? Imagine 50 years from now, it turns out all of our math was wrong, and they look at Terrence Howard as like a prophet. They look at him as like a genius that wasn't appreciated during his time for his work on 1 × 1 = 2 and 0 not being real. Just fucking imagine that universe. In 500 years, we'll have a Terrence statue outside the MIT building. Well, by then we'll already have mastered the, the hydrogen proton technology. So we will have flying buildings by then. We won't even use statues. It'll be like hydrogen molds. I actually remember he went on... Was it Good Morning Today? Or it might have been The View. I think it was The View, to talk about Terryology.
Go ahead. Okay. Now, a couple years ago, I did an article for the Rolling Stones, and they said I was crazy because I was telling them that the square root of 2 was a rational number. This is the proof that the square root of 2 is a rational number.
Well, you went to Oxford to present.
Fuck, now I see it.
About the point where 4 bubbles meet equally and oppositely.
Can I touch it?
Yes, and it's where 12 planes meet. This is an undiscovered geometry that I'm now making known to the world here on this show.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, when I was at Oxford,
I love that geometry.
they were so upset. Our entire world economy is based on 1 × 1 = 1. So if you can prove that an action times an action equals a reaction, which science proved, then 1 × 1 must equal more than 1. And to have the physical proof of it, that kind of shakes things up a bit.
Well, you're a shaker-upper.
Well, that's the Oxford.
I think The View, and like maybe just talk shows in general, are one of the most detrimental things to the American household that we've ever had. Second only to like Twitter and shit, I would say. It just platforms absolute insanity. It's wild. Like, it's baffling. They don't even bother to even, like, ask the most general questions like, well, how? Can you prove it? Are you sure? Really? They're just constantly sucking dick all the time for whatever guest they bring on. Blows my mind.
So, here's my question for you, because we were talking about immigration before on the panel. And I'm a child of Italian-American grandparents my mother was born here.
Okay, well, I guess we're done with Terryology. They steered that topic away real quick. Tony Stark himself taught Terry that 1 × 1 = 2. Yeah, he should really credit Tony Stark somewhere in this paper, but I don't think he does. No respect. It's just such a fascinating rabbit hole. I implore anyone who likes wild, wacky shit to look into teriology. I do believe it is patented. Let me double check. Everyone knows Dr. Phil. I'm sure you've seen his show at some point. He's the man of many memes, the man of my dreams, the man who makes me cream. He's had this show for decades, and it's focused on, you know, some out there people coming on and looking for Dr. Phil's sage wisdom. He brings on some wacky goofballs, he sits them down, looks them straight in the eye, and hits them with a fucking nothing burger. Everything I've ever seen from the Dr. Phil show, it ends with him giving really lazy and not very helpful advice to the family. It's like going on the Dr. Phil show was like going on Yahoo Answers 10 years ago. It's not like the greatest, but it is certainly entertaining, and what I want to focus on today is the fact that Dr. Phil turns out to be a hardcore gamer. He's just like us, actually. He demonstrated his expertise in the gaming field with a recently posted video on his YouTube channel. He's really like a fucking turbo gamer. Like, this guy goes in. So I want to go ahead and show you this clip here, and we can just go over it.
If you're looking for something to do that's fun, relaxing, and good for your brain, I have a perfect way for you to take a much-needed break, and it's right on your phone for free. It's an app game called Solitaire Grand Harvest.
I was really expecting it to be Raid Shadow Legends here, but Solitaire Grand Harvest is a close second. Typically, when you picture gaming, you're probably picturing Solitaire Grand Harvest. And now Dr. Phil has ascended. He is now the face of gaming.
I like to unwind with the game. The artwork is amazing. All of the challenges and levels are super fun. And I really like all of the super cute animals that play along with you.
Yeah, they do have great artwork. Lorinda, what do you enjoy about the game?
I've always loved the way Dr. Phil talks. He sounds like Chucky Finster with a really bad cold. The way he just like says a game is so adorable. It's like he's constantly fighting through a ton of phlegm and just mucus everywhere, but he really wants to talk about Solitaire Grand Harvest. Now, the two actresses that he brought on to promote the Grand Harvest adventure here just keep mentioning, like, the artwork, as well as Dr. Phil. He keeps saying, like, yeah, the artwork is nuts. I've never seen anything like it. So I decided to look it up because, you know, this is embarrassing to admit out loud. I don't play the game. You might have to revoke my gamer card after me saying that. But yeah, I've never played Grand Harvest, so I had to look it up on Google Images, and I gotta say, they're right. You don't usually see something of this high quality in a video game. This is the kind of shit you see in like a Marvel movie. Like this is blowing me away. The fact that we've reached this level of technological expertise to be able to capture something this impressive.
We're going to watch you guys play. Are you up for some friendly competition?
Let's play. Let's play.
So, all right, let's see who can complete their level first. So you have your phones, and we're going to see them. You guys see them on the screens here. All right, so get ready, set, all right, play.
That is the face of a man experiencing immense pleasure. Dr. Phil is powered by Solitaire Grand Harvest. There's no blood left in his body. It's just Grand Harvest gems now. That's what fuels him. And now we're all in for a treat. We get the goddamn esports grand championship here. Dr. Phil has just conducted the biggest tournament in Solitaire Harvest history. We get these two athletes squaring off on the bloodiest battleground on mobile devices, and it's about to get nutty. You thought League of Legends was toxic. Wait until you see high-level Solitaire Grand Harvest play.
All right, we can see what's going on here. Now, the game is not only enjoyable, but it's challenging, and it can sharpen your brain. You're also getting double the fun playing solitaire and can actually build a farm and harvest it. As you progress in the game, you win different rewards and credits, and this game has different surprises as you progress, so it's challenging and fun.
The audience paid for the whole seat, but they only need the edge for this one here, because goddamn, this is an intense clash of the titans here happening on the big screen. Luckily, Dr. Phil's shoutcasting, so that way we can keep up with the action. And my god, it does look fun. I can't believe I've gone this long without playing Solitaire Grand Harvest. And especially if it's got Dr. Phil's stamp of approval, this guy knows quality. This guy's much more reliable than IGN, Kotaku, Polygon. Like, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. So if Dr. Phil says it's challenging, it's fun, and it's going to turn me into a super genius, then god damn it, what am I waiting for?
So if you're looking for a mini escape with beautiful artwork and great scenery, you can take a break from your busy day and try growing some cool crops. So how are you doing?
I finished. I won.
Oh, you did? All right.
Dr. Phil caught with his pants down and digging his hand a little bit there, didn't realize that the game had already ended and we crowned a champion. Katie was victorious here. She went fucking wild. She went full throttle there. That was high octane. Katie entered just the flow state and was just mastering the Grand Harvest adventure. Dr. Phil just couldn't keep up. He was too busy explaining the fun of the game. As Dr. Phil continues to mention, the artwork truly is beautiful. Like, you don't usually see grass and a dirt road that looks like that. This is definitely a milestone. This is an achievement for the human race, being able to make art look that good, especially on a mobile device too. Like, it really is incredible what they've been able to do here.
Congratulations to both of you. Robin and I started playing this, and we love the graphics because it's really animated and fun. And both of you are really good at the game, and that makes you both winners. So whether you're currently playing games on your cell phone or not, now's the time to get in on the fun. I was looking at a study the other day, and these games actually do improve your brain function.
I have no doubt about that. Solitaire Grand Harvest has been credited with creating some of the finest minds in human history. Albert Einstein, he was a top 10 player in Grand Harvest. We've seen the effects of this. We already knew that this was good for your brain. Not only good for your brain, great for your brain. Your brain right now it's level 1. Take it to level 100 with Grand Harvest, obviously. I love that they keep mentioning the graphics, because I also agree. Like, this is a game that has truly innovated. It's a pioneer in the artwork and graphics department. It really makes you feel like a farmer playing solitaire on a dirt road, and you can't find that anywhere else. So I can totally understand why Dr. Phil loves the game so much, and I'm just happy to see that he's a gamer too, just like you and me. And yeah, I really appreciated the 3.5-minute segment here. I have to wonder how much that cost Grand Harvest. Like, that's longer than like a YouTuber ad. Usually it's like a minute 15 tops. I've never seen one go 3.5 minutes. That's like 15% of his whole show. Like, that runtime is a massive chunk of that entire show, because there's also commercial breaks during it. So that was a lot that they paid for there, and I'd be very curious to know what it cost them. Anyway, just wanted to show this. That's about it. See ya. Rejoice, it's finally here. Rebel Moon Part 2. The movie no one's been waiting for. A sequel to the movie nobody liked. And man, if you can believe it, somehow Part 2 is even worse than Part 1. Somehow every single complaint people had about the first Rebel Moon is present in the second, and even worse. Now, granted, there hasn't been a long gap between Part 1 and Part 2, so it's not like he went back and started fixing things in this movie, I imagine, after reception to the first one. It was probably already locked and loaded. But man, it is crazy how for 2 movies, no one sat Zack Snyder down and said, "Brother, this stinks." Like, he's got a couple of good ideas, he's got a couple of good shots, and like a decent vision on like how things could be cool on screen. But oh my god, it is a fucking disaster of storytelling. And not only that, it's a disaster on like the most basic levels of movie making. First of all, the characters in this movie are more flat than this note I'm about to hit. He's had 2 films to work with these characters, and in the first one there was no depth to them whatsoever. There was less depth to the characters in the first Rebel Moon than a goddamn kiddie pool. And somehow in the second one, they're even more like shallow. How do you do that? How do you do that? You've had 2 movies to work with these characters, and I feel like I still know nothing about them. I am more familiar with the strangers in my Rainbow Six Siege solo queuing lobby when they talk to me in text chat than I am with the characters across 4.5 hours of watching Rebel Moon. I learn more about those strangers in solo queue than I have from the characters in these movies. I don't even remember any of their names. I only know the main characters' names, like Archelaus, or like the villain Atticus, or the robot James, which is a... I'll get to the James in a moment, but it's so weird. Zack Snyder fundamentally fails with 2 movies to do what most directors can accomplish in a single episode of a TV show, and that's make you care about some characters. And it's not for lack of trying. I actually made a note of this because I found it so laughably pathetic. He is just unable to write good characters or write a compelling story around them. He tried to give them some depth. I have to set the stage narratively. So this movie is all about, oh, super surprise, the big bad guy from Rebel Moon 1 isn't dead. We knew that. He's coming back. They have 5 days now to prepare the village and, get the grain protected and have this big war that's going to unfold on this planet. So the movie is mainly just prepping for that. It's really fucking boring. It is a snooze fest. But there is a scene, like, right before they arrive to the war where one of the characters sits everyone down at the table and basically just says, look, we don't really know each other. Why don't we go around the room and tell each other a little bit about ourselves? Like an actual icebreaker in middle school. So they go through their fucking generic sob stories one by one. And I shit you not, every single one of these is about 10 to 12 minutes in length and entirely slow motion. All slow motion. This movie has at least 5 times as much slow motion as Rebel Moon Part 1, which had an criminal amount of slow motion. Zack Snyder needs to go to like a psychiatrist to figure out why he is obsessed with slow-mo in the most unnecessary scenes ever. In Rebel Moon Part 1, there's an infamous scene that I pointed out where there's I think it's like a whole 2-minute sequence of a slow-mo jog from one of the characters. Like slowed down to like 0.25 speed of him just jogging for so long. And in here, that's like half of the scenes. So in this moment, they're going around the room telling their generic sob stories, which suck. They are so poorly written. Side quests in the first Mass Effect with throwaway characters gave you more reasons to care than these do. So they're going around the room, they're telling their stories, each one's 10 to 12 minutes of all slow-mo, and it's supposed to be about confessing, so we get to learn about the real them. And it falls right on its fucking face. It became a joke. Like an actual joke. This was his attempt at trying to give the characters any level of depth. This is him fleshing them out. He can't do it. He can't write it. It's bad. So, since he was unsuccessful in giving these characters any real depth, no one cares about them. No one's going to know their name. I certainly didn't. So anytime the characters do something, which is rare because most of the characters do nothing here except for the main characters, but anytime they do, you kind of just roll your eyes like, oh, who is this and what are they doing? Why? And then if something happens to those characters, it doesn't matter because you don't know them. You haven't seen them do anything, so who gives a fuck? It takes all of the emotional weight off of every single scene that they're in. And I think somewhere along the way, he recognized that because at a certain point, characters just start telling you how you're supposed to feel about characters. So there's a scene where one of the villagers is giving the main cast, like the heroes, a certain item, and then explaining why she's giving them that item. And it's like, oh, for your bravery, your no-quit attitude. There's not a mean bone in your body. You always wear the nicest smile, and you got real stars in your eyes, champ. We love it here. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? We've never even seen that from this character. What are you talking about? You also never seen this from the character. They haven't done anything. They haven't done shit. And you're talking about how they're like super strong, super nice, like an incredible warrior. You haven't fucking seen it. Nobody has. Like, they just start telling you what the character is supposed to be, but you never see it. They don't show you it. So it sucks. Like, what Zack Snyder needs is a talented writing team around him. Because like I said, he has some cool visions, and there are some good shots. But since everything around it is dog shit, the whole thing just becomes a toilet bowl of poop. Like, it just doesn't work. So all of the shots are just kind of moot. If he had a team of writers around him that kind of wrangled in his visions and like actually fleshed them out, I think he could have something here with Rebel Moon. But since it seems like he's only surrounded by a bunch of yes men, we're gonna keep getting fed this slop, and it is slop. I don't know how Zack Snyder has like this cult following that he does that's brainwashed into just loving everything he makes. It's just so odd because under every possible spin of Rebel Moon, it's just bad. Like, there's no real arguments you can make for it being good. Even at the most basic level of action, it fucking fails at. It's boring. The action in Rebel Moon 1 was better, genuinely better than what's here in Rebel Moon 2. Even though this one is all about a war. Like, how do you make a war movie this lame? It's just a bunch of people firing from the hip in slow-mo, so just a bunch of lasers, beep booping all over the place, and you don't really get to see anything interesting. There's a fucking character that uses dual lightsabers. Like, how do you fumble that? That is the easiest recipe for just fun on screen, and still, her scenes with the dual lightsabers are terrible. She barely does anything with them. She does like a couple of moves like this and that and nothing else. And she loses like the entire time to just random grunts. And that's supposed to be like one of the main heroes there. You know, this ultimate warrior. It's just pathetic. Like, it is boring action. Aside from a couple of decent moments. Like, there's a couple of moments in these slow-mo sequences that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. If it wasn't surrounded by 50 other minutes worth of slow-mo, this one actually probably would have stood out. I bet if you took the slow-mo out of this movie, you would have cut its runtime by about 40 minutes. And I'm not even really exaggerating. I actually think you would have taken a huge chunk out of this movie if those slow-mo scenes were just normal speed or just used more sporadically. It's baffling. It's truly nuts how much slow-mo is in this movie. Like, I can't overstate that. But yeah, it takes so much of the impact and intensity out of a lot of these fight scenes. So really nothing in this film lands. Like, actually nothing. Now, I mentioned the robot James earlier, and I think he is the best example for just how bad and how all over the place Zack Snyder's brain is with Rebel Moon. James is a robot who actually has something cool about him. He's got, I don't want to spoil it, but he's got an interesting element that isn't present in anything else in Rebel Moon. And instead of exploring that part, which they only briefly drop, they instead just sideline him to a character that wears antlers and is occasionally just in the background looking at things. That's his whole presence in Rebel Moon. All he does is like look at shit from the sidelines and he's like, And then he eventually talks to our main character for like maybe a minute or two, and he reveals that really interesting piece of lore about him, and it's never addressed again. And instead, he pops up one more time in the middle of their climactic battle where he just, like a fucking turret, goes in a circle shooting people, and then he like punches a guy, and then blows up a tank, and then he's gone again until the end of the movie, and then he's wearing his antlers again. He's like, I think I might want to help. Clearly, he's trying to get James into the fold for the third movie, because apparently Zack Snyder wants to make 6 of these bitches. God only knows why. I have no idea why. They are terrible and looks like only getting worse. But because Zack Snyder's all over the place, he has so many different pots on the fire, he's losing track of them, is what it seems like. James is a character that was introduced in the first Rebel Moon that I thought could be interesting, only to be completely forgotten. And in this film, they bring him in pretty early, like they show you him, and I thought, oh, he's probably going to play a pretty decent role in this film. Only to be completely forgotten again until the end of the movie with that little scene with the main character and then his hero moment. And then he even strikes legitimately a hero pose, like an actual hero pose, superhero. So it's like Zack Snyder keeps forgetting where things are or what things are going on in these movies because he's probably too focused on how to put more fucking slow-mo in it. It's just so poorly done from top to bottom. I can't think of anything in this film that makes it worth watching. It's a slog. And even like what's supposed to be the big payoff with this massive battle sucks. It's boring. Anyway, I'm not going to keep ranting about Rebel Moon Part 2 here, but I do also want to mention something the name Scargiver. So Rebel Moon Part 2 is called Scargiver. And do you want to know why? Because fuck you, that's why. He has these pretentious sounding names, and in the movie, the best I can gather, since it's not fully explored why they call her Scargiver, the best I can piece together is the main bad guy Atticus at one point says that he's going to show his face and bear the scar that she gave him. So I'm guessing it's him giving her the title of Scargiver, because in their final fight, which basically killed him and then he was brought back to life, he now has a scar from it. Genius. I could be wrong, but that's what I pieced together with the name. Everything about Rebel Moon is so fucking cringe, it's crazy. If I was to put it onto the moist meter, I'd probably give this puppy a comfortable 15%, I'd say. That's really about it. So yeah.